Oops, wasn't on the screen. Yo, 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 no maniacs. Welcome into the show. This is Nomad Live / All Eyes on Future Bears. Matter of fact, let me switch up the screen right quick. Put myself over here so you guys can see what's going on. Yes, this is All Eyes on Future Bears, man. We're gonna look at prospects today, man. And I'm trying to make some regularly scheduled appearances to do that, man. We're gonna work hard this off season to give you guys all kinds of comprehensive coverage on some of these players, man, that some of you guys may or may not know about. I'm definitely going to be looking for a bunch of guys that aren't on the radar of your average podcaster or reporter. You know, you get the same names all the time. You get tired of hearing that. What about some of these other guys? And yeah, I'm gonna do my best, and we're gonna do our part over here at the Nomad Network to make sure you get as much coverage as you can, as we can give you on that. I'm stacking up a whole big library of players and player cards. I don't know if we're gonna do video this year because I don't know if I have time to do it. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of time to render the stuff, and plus, you know, we monetize the channel, so you know it's not. You know, we want to make something from the content and be able to pay the bills over here, and it doesn't do us any good if we're using videos that other people have monetized and we're trying to use them for cut ups just to do a quick couple of plays for you guys once you see a football player. So what I'm gonna do is just honor you guys as no maniacs and football fans, and just hope that you guys, whatever player that I pull up on the screen or we pull up on the screen, you guys can go ahead and do your homework on these guys once we point them out to you. So hopefully you guys have your pen and your pad ready, man, because we got at least 12 players in this game that we're gonna be watching today between Minnesota and Virginia Tech. Some really good players, man. I've been watching pretty much all year, but a couple in particular that really stand out. Some that one in particular that, you know, a lot of you know, scouts and, you know, a bunch of the podcasters are really pointing the finger at, and like, hey, this guy might be a player. And so let me give some shout outs before we get going on the show. I'm by myself because I don't know what happened with FFG. Hopefully nothing crazy is going on with him. Hopefully he just took a nap and fell asleep and forgot he had a show tonight. I don't know. But we're gonna roll as we roll, man. You know, we're gonna have fun like we always do at the Nomad Network. So let me give a shout out to everybody I see in the chat. Shout out to the first person in here, my guy Cornelius Squalls, man. What's happening, dude? Good to see you back in the chat. Who else is that? Crimson, one of our faithful members in here. What up, Crimson? I see who else down here. Marco King. As people start filing in here, anybody that's not subscribed to the show and you want to come in and chat, all you got to do is hit the subscribe. You can pop right on in and have your piece to say about whatever we see on the screen. But please do that. Jump on in and subscribe. Minister Charles is here. My guy, Minister, what's up, dude? My guy Frank's in here. What's going on, Frank? All right, so before we get to the players and that discussion, hopefully you guys like the new background. Man, I thought it was cool. Ryan Poles is still, you know, the GM, and I'm still going to support him because I believe 110% people that everybody deserves a second chance. You know what I mean? Everybody deserves a second chance. Ryan Poles has done some things, you know, that I wouldn't necessarily approve of. His choices of draft picks and different things like that. You know, when he drafted somebody, you know, this different stuff that I might have a different virtue about, but I'm not gonna be like everybody else in the media right now, and I'm not gonna put this guy in effigy because I think people can learn from their mistakes. So as long as he's, you know how I am, as long as Justin Fields was here, I was gonna support him. So long as Ryan Poles is here, I'm gonna support him. I think he can rebound from his mistakes and get this thing together. It might take him a little bit longer than he thought, but I believe this guy has the chops and can get it done. He's just maybe he got a little bit cocky in some of the picks he made and didn't spend enough capital, whether it was in free agency, whether it was in the draft, didn't do some of the things that I know he could have done to help this team out. But you live and you learn, you're right. That's just the way life is, man. So I'm going to support him. I'm not going to be like everybody else. I believe the guy can redeem himself. And so I'm going to just say that before I do this, do some house cleaning before we get started. Give me a second. I'm by myself, producing, talking, monitoring the chat, the whole thing. But give me a second while I pull up some graphics right quick. So we're going to do something different this year. We're chasing, we need to set a short-term goal. I would love to see us get to 2,000 by the time we got to the end of at post game or after post game of the next game. Season's end, man. I think we've been good to the No Maniacs. I think we've been good to people out here. But please do subscribe to the channel, man. We are really trying to get to 2,000 and beyond, man. But we're gonna set the short-term goal of trying to get to 2,000. So I would just ask everybody, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit that button, man. We can definitely use the support. As you see down here, Papa Bear says thank you for all the people who do support us. So we really do appreciate you guys to no ends. And I just wanted to say that out loud. Thank you guys for all your support. Appreciate you so much. But let's hit this goal, man. Let's push it to 2,000. We can do this crap, man. Let's go. Let me get back into the chat, see what everybody's saying real quick before we get going. Hey, I appreciate that, Cornelius. Let me see. Minister Charles said he's been a little bit under the weather. You know, I'm gonna get with you and check on you, man. I gotta scrape my plate clean, man, so we can talk. But Minister, I definitely plan on connecting again, man, so we can try to further what you're doing down the road a little bit as best we can. I'm wrestling with my boys over here, kids, and everybody else to try to get you some more help as much as we can possibly get you. But trust me, man, help is on the way. Don't even worry about it. Let me see. Chi-Town Menace says, as long as he does his due diligence on a coach. I agree with that, man. You just got to get the right guy. We're going to talk about a little bit of that as we get into looking at some of these prospects out here. I got some particular thoughts about that because I've been doing a little homework on a guy. He's got to learn, Crimson. Crimson said he's concerned that Poles hasn't learned. He's got to learn. He has no choice but to learn. He's going to learn. I mean, I think the seat is warm. And I think given that, I believe under the circumstances, he has nowhere to go but up from here. How can he make this worse? You know what I mean? So I think he'll find the right coach. It might not be the exact coach that everybody else wants and for everybody else's virtue, but I believe he'll find the right coach. Hey, guys, give me 1 second. My girlfriend's on the phone. I got to mute out for a second. Give me a second. Sorry about that, y'all. My girlfriend didn't know I was on a live stream and called me from work. Yeah, but Crimson, I think, he's gonna learn, man. I think all the hard feelings that we have about Ryan Poles based on what happened this year, I think all that stuff will subside in several weeks once he hires a coach and we start to get a sense of what the direction is going to be. Crimson, I truly believe that. I think we all can agree that yes, he's made some horrible mistakes this year. You know, in the offseason, you know, in the draft, I think he made some horrible mistakes, but I believe he can rebound from them. And I'm gonna give him, like I would give anybody else, the benefit of the doubt until he proves me wrong. But I appreciate that, Crimson. Let me see. Minister Charles is saying. Minister Charles says, I think that what Poles has been through, he would have the fortitude to learn from his mistakes and experiences and right the ship moving forward. I 100% believe that, man. I really do, man. I really do. I'm gonna support the guy, Cornelius, man. I believe he can get the job done. I wasn't just blowing smoke when I told you, you know, when we got the guy, I felt like we got the right guy. I still think we got the right guy. I think he's got to learn. You know what I mean? Just like anybody else, there's a learning curve. He's a first-time GM, just like Fluke's got a couple years, 3 years to be a first-time coach. Give him a chance to get this right. Let me see. I'm gonna get to a couple more comments before I gotta get to some of these players. Let me see. Crimson wants to know what shows me that he's learned from it. He's a human, man. I know how humans operate, man. I'm a psychology major, Crimson, and sociology. I was a psychology major, sociology minor, and I'm steeped into people stuff and human behavior and different things like that. I'm steeped into all of the way people think, and I know for a fact that this guy will have no other alternative but to learn from his mistakes. What he does with it, you know, to your point, we'll see. But I think I would probably set my margin or lean towards he's going to make a whole lot better decisions than he's made so far. I would just say that. Let me get to one more comment before we get out of here. Hold on a second. Give me a second. Yeah, don't worry about that. All right, what Shy-Time Minute says. He said, I don't like to hear that he's afraid of a coach because of job safety. You know what, Shy-Town? I don't see it the way everybody else saw that. I heard that. So there's a couple trains of thoughts here. The first thing I heard about Ben Johnson in regard to Chicago is that he preferred the Jacksonville job more than he liked Chicago. In fact, I just put a short out where Tripp was talking about it on some extra sauce the other night. Good ass show if you want to watch some good content. That was a great show to watch, man. Go check that out if you haven't watched that. We did that Wednesday night. Just put a short out in regard to the exact same statement you're talking about here. And the first thing I heard about it was he preferred the Jacksonville job because he'd be able to bring in the people that he wants from the front office on down and the weather and all that kind of stuff. I heard that kind of thing. If he doesn't prefer Chicago, I'm more than okay with that because I don't think, and I also put another short out when I pointed out that he doesn't read to me as the leader of men type. And I don't care what anybody says about who they think the next coach should be. One thing I think everybody should pay attention to and really fit this into your way of thinking. I don't give a damn how good of an offensive coordinator he is. I don't give a damn how much he might help Caleb Williams. If he is not the right fit for the entire team, it'll be all for nothing, and we'll be scratching our head in a year or two. I guarantee you that. And so all the people that's out here pounding the table, we need Ben Johnson, go and look at some of his interviews. Look at videos and look how he interacts with people and tell me if you think he's got leader of men traits to him. Because at the end of the day, if he's not able to manage that locker room and manage those players and get everybody to sing on the same chord, it doesn't matter what you think he can do with Caleb Williams is. And I think that would be the mistake of all mistakes, to go and get a coach just because everybody says we need to get somebody that fits Caleb Williams. Like it ain't a whole other 52 other cats to deal with. I think that's the wrong approach. You're not going to get a team. You're not going to get a team battle. You know what I mean? You're going to get a pretty decent Caleb, but the rest of the team might not come along with it. That's the conundrum we're in. You got to get a leader of men that you are confident that can hire an offensive coordinator. Don't get no damn offensive coordinator just because you think he can fit Caleb. We need more than an offensive coordinator. And as fans, we have to recognize that. We have to. If we don't, we're gonna be screwed in a year or two. I guarantee you that. But let me, FFG, give me thumbs up if you feel like you're ready to come in. Go ahead, give some shout outs real quick, and speak to the people real quick before I get to some of these players, because we up against the wall right now. We got to hurry up and get that out.
What up, No Maniacs? How y'all doing this fine Friday? So I see a bunch of people in the chat today. It's what I expect. We love the Bears. I know everybody's got a lot of different things going through their mind about what's going to happen and how things are going to move forward. And to be honest, so are we. We are just trying to make the best of a messed up situation this year that nobody thought we were going to be in. Nobody thought that we were going to be this bad. Now, a lot of us thought the rookie quarterback wouldn't be the end all, which I have to agree with. I didn't think it was going to be that way. I really didn't. I thought he was going to play better than what he's shown to play, but the pieces around him that we thought were the best ever hasn't matriculized into wins or continuity. And that's really where the problems really are for the Bears at this point. There's a lot of issues, and it's all up front to me. If we can't control what happens in front of him and on the other side of the ball, what's in front of the opposing quarterback, doesn't matter who the coach is. And that's the major point I think Nomad is trying to get across, that we need somebody to be able to embody the entire team, not just a portion to make it look good. And so I did want to give some shout outs today. There's a lot of people up in here. Squalls, my dude, back in the building. Crimson, you dig. Marco King, Mr. Charles, as always. Franquitos in the house. Let's see what we got. We got Ant Moss. We got Don Burr party crashing as usual. So James Ford chilling with us. We're going to preview this game. A team that I get to watch a lot, which is Minnesota, because my wife's from Minnesota and is on TV every week. I'm playing against Virginia Tech. So we're going to see a lot of different options that we probably didn't talk about in the past couple of breakdowns. But there's a lot of things to fix on this team. A lot of different aspects that you see come to fruition at the end of the season, not necessarily at the beginning of the season where it looks so promising. So what I want you to do is keep your eyes open for a lot of these different cats, different areas that we've all noticed this season that we need to beef up, get more sound at, and whoever the coach is going to have to be able to be a really good talent developer, and Paul's going to have to do his job and get quality talent in here. So whoever the coach is, they'll be successful by being able to bring these guys along. And now we can develop the talent to be sound for the next 5 to 10 years.
All right. So we are running late. So let me quickly, I appreciate these comments coming in. Y'all keep them coming, man. Some good comments in here. FFG, I hear you. He's not, FFG's not FFG, but it's Crimson, you dig. It's not convinced that Ryan Poles has learned a damn thing, but there's no way to know unless somebody's learned. If somebody's learned something, you put them to task. You just don't know. You can feel bad. We can all feel like we feel about what Ryan Poles has done so far and have no confidence in him. I think that's the best way to put it, FFG. You have no confidence in him. And I can understand that, there's no reason to be upset at somebody for feeling that way, because I could see why you would feel that way, be quite honest with you. What I'm saying is I'm preaching a little patience, because I know for a fact that this would be, and FFG, just hold me down for 1 second, because we're gonna get right to the players. Sure. This would be the scenario if we remove the general manager. The next head coach would come in. First, I don't know how they would do that, in what order. Would they hire the general manager first and have that general manager hire the coach, or vice versa? Either way, they got to figure out if they're aligned. Number one. Second thing that's going to happen, and nobody wants to see this, it's going to be a complete roster reconstruction, because I guarantee you the players that we have on the field ain't going to be the virtues of the player, the GM and the coach that wants to come in here and frame this and shape this thing into the team that they want it to be. Guarantee it's going to be roster turnover and a rebuild. And as much as people complain about they don't like the way things are going, that's the last thing I know people can deal with. You talking about people going crazy now. If we get into a complete rebuild again, oh man, it's over with, dude. It's crazy. But I'll just leave that there while I get to some of these players. Let me start with let me see here. What we got? We're gonna start with let's start with some of the Virginia Tech players, man. We're gonna get with this guy right here. Kelvin Gilliam is 6'3", 295 pounds. Quickness, burst, versatility definitely shows up on the radar. The thing I like about him, and what I'm optimistic about with Kelvin Gilliam, is we've got a big 3 tech. You know what I mean? We got a really big 3 tech. We've got Javon Dexter, 6'6", 320 something pounds, however big he is, and he's trying to rebuild his body as a big 3 tech. This is a somewhere in between big and medium size 3 tech at 6'3", 295 pounds. He's got a lot of quickness and burst, and I'm sure that if he plays tonight, that is going to show up on the film. And so what I'm trying to be a proponent of is maybe we bring in some 3 techs that have a different skill set, different body trait, and different things like that, because it can't hurt none. You can have that little bit shorter, more explosive guy as opposed to the bigger guy that can really dominate the push up front. And so Kevin Gilliam is a guy that I see in that light. What say you, FFG?
Yeah, one thing I like about his game. Now, one thing you'll notice about a lot of these guys, which you won't see in the future going forward, is he's a redshirt senior right now. He played at a different college. He played in the Big 12 for 3 years going against them behemoths, with that quick hurry-up offense. So you didn't get to see as much of his ability. But going to the ACC where they try to control the line of scrimmage more, you can see the quickness and the burst that he has, and his low pad level allows him to dominate and move the pile from the inside to let his defensive ends take advantage with their speed and length on the outside.
All right. I appreciate that, man. Good observation. And here we go to I'm going to save this one for last, but the one I got in mind. But I'm going to go to the next guy. They've got another 3-tech in there, a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller. Guy that played at Duke, and he transferred into Virginia Tech and played well while he was there. Immediately made an impact. Aeneas Peebles, 6'1", 290 pounds, a senior, also has elite quickness. And one of the things that really stuck out to him when you watch enough tape on him, it's like it's like he's got edge rusher moves for an interior tackle. And so, you got that spin move that the edge rushers use, but this guy he's going to be, if he wears the Bears uniform, he's going to be one of those guys that's position kind of pliable. You can put him out at the edge and get some production out of him, even though he's 6'1", but that inside spin is almost NFL ready. Like it's one of those things that would stick out to you if you watch his film. But Aeneas Peebles, another guy you should pay a whole lot of attention to during this game.
Y'all, he is a straight up pile mover with his size and his power. That's where his spin move is so effective, because he gets people off their feet and backing up immediately and off balance, and then boom, he by you. And so he's a disruptor. And if you ever look at some of his Duke tape where he played for the first 3 years, it's devastating how he was just moving the pile consistently. This kid is going to be, if he's a pinch hitter on your defensive line, you're going to be happy when he comes in the game, because it's going to be all-out effort.
I love this. I love his film because he's very, very active, and it's hard to not notice him when you're watching a Virginia Tech defense play, man. He shows up time after time after time. But that, I'm telling you, what sticks out is that inside spin. If he plays tonight, I'm pretty sure he's going to pull that out on whatever guy he's running up against. I'm telling you, you're going to notice it if he plays tonight. But we'll see what happens. Let's get to the next guy. And everybody every fan of the Chicago Bears knows we need a running back. Now, but Bayshul Tootin is not the physical running back that you like, say Cornelius Squalls. I can't remember somebody else. Minister Charles. I apologize, Cornelius. I think Minister Charles said something to me the last time we did a show and we displayed a running back. Is like, he's not big enough. He's not physical enough. What he is I'll be honest with you with what I've seen on tape. Everything you see on the side there, very explosive. I mean, really, really good vision. Better than average hands. He's a really good receiver out of the backfield, and he's not scared to stick his nose in there in pass pro either. He'll stand up to it, get ran over, but he'll stand up to it. But is he the physical, every down running back that the Bears have been looking for since David Montgomery left? No. But he can bring something to the table. He reminds me, as a matter of fact, it's funny because we just got Khalil Herbert out of Virginia Tech a few years ago, and he's got Khalil Herbert traits, only quicker and better lateral agility. And that's to me, like, I think Khalil Herbert would be a starter on somebody's team if he could move laterally, side to side, and avoid tackles, man. Once he's a straight ahead, north-south runner, Khalil Herbert is, and the lateral agility you need to be a really great running back, he just doesn't have. This guy Bayshul Tootin does. And so just keep an eye on him. I'm pretty sure he's going to pop out for you guys.
All I got to say, y'all, home run hitter. If he gets past the line, it's over. He's a track star out in the open. It's literally over. And I ain't talking about against Old Dominion and, the podunk teams. We're talking about ACC competition where it's chock full of athletes and he's leaving them in the dust. Once he hits that hole, once he sees it, boom, gets through there with blocking is decent, it's over. That's this kid, and he can catch you at the backfield. So if we wanted to change a pace, running back, you get him in the later rounds, and he's all speed, just ridiculous speed.
Hey, you know what, AC Adam? I got Illinois is on my radar, so I'm trust me, man. I'm trying to see if Josh McCray is coming out. Trust me, Josh McCray is on my radar. There's a whole bunch of Illinois players on my radar. One of my favorite ones is the safety number 10. I forget his last name is Scott. But man, you talking about a solid safety, man, dude. Illinois got some dudes, and by way of how they played this year, if you're around here and you watch Illinois games, they're in prime position. They already stole a top receiver out of the portal this year to replace Pat Bryant. But the Illinois is going to be good, and I think they're going to challenge for something next year. I think they'll be in that tournament come next year. I think they will. Yeah, I hear you, Chi-Town Minutes. We have been patient, man. We have, man. We're going to have to be a little bit more. I'm just going to be honest with you. All right, let me see. Let me see what we got here. Next guy here is ball magnet, Dorian Strong, cornerback. I know everybody's going to say, oh, man, what the hell are you looking at a cornerback for? Nomad, damn, they got enough cornerbacks, man. Listen, there's a realistic chance that, and be quite honest with you, I hate to even say this, but it could be time for Jaylon Johnson to go. Because why? I don't know that he's got the patience to put up with what he's about to have to put up with the Chicago Bears team. I don't know that Ryan Post can get this thing situated and ready to go and have us challenging for a playoff spot in a year with all I seen that went wrong this year. And so quite frankly, if we want to get into an advantageous spot in the draft, quite frankly, we need to look at some of our assets to get more pieces, whether it be a Jaylon Johnson, whether it be a Cole Kmet, whatever it is. But those two guys in particular probably seen too much here in Chicago. And if you understand what I mean by that, they've gone through coach after coach, coordinator after coordinator, system after system, and ain't nothing going right. And so what good does it do your franchise to keep that kind of energy in the locker room when you're trying to rebuild something else? It became clear to me that Cole Kmet is done with this whole thing. You know what I mean? He's like done. But it wouldn't surprise me to see if we parted ways with one or both of those guys. But let me talk about Dorian Strong. Dorian Strong is 6'1", 185. Kind of light for a corner, but that's kind of where I played at when I was in college, and I was okay. Senior, excellent man-to-man corner. And so elite when the ball is in the air. So when the ball is in the air, he closes to that ball and he thinks it's his. He acts like a receiver when the ball is in the air, and that's what you're looking for. Somebody with that kind of ball skill and kind of range to be able to close on the ball. But absolute ball magnet, great man-to-man skills. I don't know that we're going to be in such a zone-based scheme come next year. I think the way to go to me is do something hybrid at least. You know what I mean? Mix match your coverages, get into a whole bunch of matchup zones, mix it up a little bit so people don't know what's coming. What the problem was for me is we played too much zone. It was pretty easy to detect what the offense was going to do with the ball. Find a hole in the zone, throw it. And so if we go to a more man-based scheme and we ended up having to draft another corner, Dorian Strong is a name you're going to want to check out. He's a really good corner, man, and his man-to-man skills are elite. FFG?
Yeah, well, to me, I watched a lot of his tape. Clemson's my team in the ACC because my dad's from South Carolina. This kid, I don't care if he's getting beat. He's playing zone. He's playing man-to-man. He does not play the man. He plays the ball every time. There ain't no, I just need to make sure that he don't catch it. No, I'm playing the ball. You ain't getting it. Either knocks it away or intercepts it. And that's what you want in a man-to-man cover or corner, excuse me. The way he covers the ball and not the man, because his eyes are always downfield, back towards where the ball is coming from, which always puts him in an elite position to either intercept it or knock the ball away.
Really good corner. I mean, man skills are very impressive. You're talking about from a cornerback to a cornerback. He's got some pretty impressive skill set. I just love how he closes when the ball is in the air and acts like a receiver. I mean, it's just really, really nice stuff to watch as a corner and to watch this kid play. He's really good. Keep an eye on him tonight. Let me see here. We got any more Virginia Tech guys?
You didn't know about Rantom Powell Ryland.
Well, we did. I'm gonna get there. Hold
your
horses.
Ollie
Jennings. Ollie Jennings is one of those 6'2", 205 senior receiver, big possession receiver. I mean, 6'2" doesn't sound huge, but he plays huge. He plays with his body, solid route runner. And why I would be studying this guy today and bringing him to your attention is because I think we're going to need different skill sets at receiver, man. I don't know if we're going to keep Keenan Allen. I don't know if he's going to be here or be gone. I really just don't know. But at the end of the day, a variety of skill sets. You got a long Rome Odunze. Yeah, you don't want to use Rome Odunze too much in possession routes and constantly keep throwing medicine balls at him and getting him hit. I'm not saying that you want to do that to Ollie Jennings, but you need guys that can play a specific kind of role. And he is a possession receiver. He's not one of those burners down the field. But he's one of those, I guess you would call it, what's the number 13's name in New Orleans that he kind of reminded me of? I think his name is, what is his name? Keyshawn Johnson's nephew. I forget his name. Number 13. I can't think of his name, but that every time I watch him play, that's who he reminded me of. And that guy, I mean, he just constantly gets the job done. So he's a receiver to keep your eye on.
You about the kid who went to Ohio State?
No. I'm thinking about number 13 in New Orleans. He hasn't played in the last 2 or 3 years. He's constantly injured. But don't worry about it, man, just for the sake of the show. Let's just keep on talking about Ollie Jennings.
Okay. Ollie, he's your consummate, can get open, can get off coverage. He's got really good hands. So he's going to be more of your safety valve like that's what I think with Ollie. He's gonna be your safety valve. He ain't super fast or nothing like that.
Michael Thomas, perfect. My bad. Michael Thomas, that's exactly who I was thinking of.
He stay hurt. But Michael Thomas was 6'4" and that was faster. But this kid is he'll get the job done. He may not get you, them 20, 30 yards, but he'll get you 8 to 15 all the time. Where you need somebody to make a play on the slant over the middle to come back, that's your guy. He's Keenan Allen, young. That's basically who he really is. Keenan Allen as a younger player, but a little less speed than Keenan had coming out. But he's going to catch the ball because he knows how to get separated from the DBs, the linebackers, to get to that open space.
All right. I appreciate that. Here is now I made a big deal, and I believe that Mike Green from Marshall is right there with this kid, but this is who I think is the best pure pass rusher in the draft. And I thought he was that last year, and he should have come out last year. Antoine Powell Ryland, 6'3", 252-pound senior. I mean, when I say he's the best pass rusher in the draft, ain't a tool that he doesn't have. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you with power. He can beat you with moves. You talking about plug and play. He's not your every down, I'm a hold down the edge 4-3 edge rusher type. Not at 252, no. But if you're going to play a hybrid style of defense, which we could possibly do, I guarantee you, no maniacs. When you turn on this tape of Antoine Powell Ryland, don't just go with the tape you see this year. Go back to last year, which is when I thought he should have came out. This dude is an electric pass rusher. Nobody's talking about him, but I think 100% he's the best pass rusher in the draft. I think he got 16 sacks just falling asleep on the field. And I don't know how many pressures. I mean, this dude is he's a pass rushing machine. You got to check this tape out. If you don't do nothing else, you guys, go check out Antoine Powell Ryland and come back and tell me what you think. You can go check him out now and start looking at some of his highlights. Come back and tell me. Go ahead, FFG.
Nothing I can say really to add to that, but it's the truth. His speed to power ratio is ridiculously outrageous. How he plays, where he can dominate you, just taking you out with the bull rush. He can blow past you. He's got multiple moves on the outside that dominates people. Really, he would flourish in a 3-4 scheme to be that outside linebacker, defensive end type of player, where his side rushes the ball all there. You know what I mean? Because he's devastating to be able to have to block on a consistent basis, because you never know what's coming, and it's always coming at you full speed. He don't take plays off. That's one thing you'll notice about this kid. Man, they're already halfway through the first quarter.
I think they just not getting to it on my team. I don't even.
Yeah, it's 8:39 left to go. They just finally switched it for that North Texas piece of crap when they could have just postponed it 30 minutes.
Don't worry about it. We're gonna continue. Anything else about Antoine Paul Riley? I'm just doing that just for the sake of doing shorts later.
Plus, he plays the run extremely well, and they on defense right now. So if y'all want to check out some of these cats we were just talking about, you can follow along while you watch the game.
All right,
now it's on.
We got to finish these players, man. So Antoine Powell Riley, do you some homework, check that out, and let me know what you guys think. Let's get to some of the Minnesota players. And here's the name everybody's talking about: Ariante Ursery, the left tackle from Minnesota, 6'3", 330 pounds, senior. I mean, his hands are so powerful. He's one of them people that, like, you got to be careful how you greet people. Like, you touch your homeboy, hey man, I ain't seen you in a while. You give him that big hug on the back, slap his man. He hurt somebody. That's how powerful his hands are. I mean, extremely powerful, solid run blocker. I mean, he's a better run blocker than he is a pass protector. And I'm not saying that he's a bad pass protector, but I know he needs work in that department because he's a lunger. When he goes out for blocks, he's got to learn to sit in the chair a little bit and play and let the pass rush come to him instead of reaching out forward. That's one of the things I noticed about him. But, I don't even think he's – let me look. I don't even think he's playing. Nope. He is not.
77 out there.
But what's your thoughts about Ariante Ursery?
He is a consummate road grader. Of all the cats you watch play, he destroys his side of the field on every run play. Now, yeah, he's going to have to play better at catching, but when he gets his hands on you, you're in the ground. It's ridiculous because when he does move his feet, because I've seen some plays where he can move his feet and he's stopping the bull rush or the speed from the outside, stone wall. That's it. His side of the field is done. If the quarterback gets sacked, that's from somewhere else or a blitz or something, because it ain't coming from his side. This kid is just a movable object. It's ridiculous how much power, and when he hits you, it's either you going that way, you going down, or you ain't going nowhere. I'll never see him get pushed back into nothing. No plays I watch. None of them. You want a road grader, you get this kid.
Oops, I'm sorry, guys. I was muted for a second. I apologize, man. But my overall thoughts about Ariante Ursery is I don't believe that he's a plug and play right now starting left tackle unless you have to. I think he can adjust, but I think his skill set is great, but I think he's going to need a little bit more polishing. But as far as a blue chip piece that you need on your offensive line at tackle, he's definitely worth the investment if they want to invest in a tackle. I don't know how he probably will go off the board in the first round. I don't know if the tackles start getting ripped off early, but the truth is he needs a little bit of cleaning up on his pass protection, man. He lunges way too much, and some of those quicker guys will use and abuse him. So, but I'm not saying that he's a bad left tackle and he might not be able to play right away, but if you have the right coach in place and you have the assets, he's a guy that you want to take your time and fix him up a little bit. That's what I would say about Ariante Ursery. But let me move on to the next guy. Jake, Jacob Capone to Don, good to see you in there, man. Good to see you in there. Let's talk about Cody Lindenberg. You know what? Don Burr is in the chat right now, and he'll go back and look at this. And Don, you tell me if it makes sense to you or not. But he reminds me a lot of Jack Campbell. Just an enforcer. Great football IQ and instincts, man. He sees the field well, man, and reacts. And it's not like sometimes he can predict what something is going to happen and he'll trigger. He's not waiting for, for the play to get to him before he triggers. He'll see the play before it develops and gets out there past the line of scrimmage and trigger. And those are the instincts you look for when in a linebacker. Enforcer straight. He's like a bodyguard out there in your run game. Absolutely what you're looking for. And one of the things that I think we're missing right about now. I'm not blaming anything on what is his name? Number 48 or 49. I'm not blaming any. I think the defensive line played a heavy role into how well he played or didn't play, Tremaine Edmonds. But if they go by way of looking for another linebacker, this is one of them they better be looking at hard. What do you think about Cody Lindenberg?
Number one, he's a tackling machine. And he's rangy. He plays the run as well as he plays the pass. So when he does diagnose a play, he's out of there like a rocket. And he's one of the faster, more versatile linebackers in the league. His shuttle time is elite. Like, I think they said he's like the fastest time for like 5 or 6 years for a linebacker. That's saying something with all the great linebackers that have come in the league in the last 5 years. So if you want a complete linebacker, this kid is the one. Plus, he understands and diagnoses all kinds of plays, because look at all the crap they got to play against in the Big Ten. He got to play against multiple NFL-type fronts that he sees all the time. So that's the thing that's going to benefit him at the next level, because he's playing against, number one, pro-ready players, and number two, pro-style offenses on a weekly basis.
Don already checked him out. He said he does remind him of Jack, not as reckless though. Jack is a damn psycho, but that's what you want, man. You know what I mean? You need that dude. I don't know how long in career Jack Campbell gonna have. The way he plays football, he reckless with it, man. And the body is only built for so many of those collisions, man. And he just runs through people, but it could get y'all where y'all need to get to this year. So at the end of the day, you can go back in the draft and get another one. But I'm telling you, we already did Lathan Ransom. We'll do some more of that, Jacob Capone. We got Lathan Ransom down. We got him on lock over here. Matter of fact, I put out a short on one of us having a take on it, whether it was me or FFG, but we definitely got Lathan Ransom. But Cody Lindenberg, straight up dog, man. I think he's going to be an asset right away for whatever team drafts him. Hopefully it's in Chicago, man. Let me look at the next guy here. Pull him up. Now, when you talk about depth, and this is one of those versatile pieces. Quinn Carroll, offensive tackle, 6'7", 313 pounds, senior. The guy doesn't do like nothing great, you know what I mean? But he does everything well. You know what I mean? He's just one of those guys that he'll go to a team and he'll right away end up being flexed from here to there, left tackle, right guard, left guard. Only thing you won't have him do is play center. He's just, solid foot quick, and he's really quick for his size. Patient as a pass protector. He's not lunging. He's just waiting for the game to come to him, and pop out comes those hands, and that's impressive to watch. And a good amount of nastiness to him, man. And you got to have certain guys like that on your team and in your rotation, so that when your starters go out, not to say that he can't be a starter on the next level, but he's going to have to work for it, and I think he's got the traits to do it. There's somebody going to pick this guy, and they're going to like him.
One thing that impressed me the most about this kid, he played 3 years at Notre Dame. And the kind of offensive linemen they have over there, straight up bullies. He learned in that system where he plays well against for the run game, and he can be stout at every position he's had to play. This kid just wants to get on the field. And that's what you want about somebody who you want to pick up as an offensive lineman who's a jack of all trades. He's done it at the highest level for one of the best offensive lines in the nation, and he finally got to have more playing time by transferring to Minnesota because Notre Dame is just chock full of first rounders. So this kid, if you give him a chance to get more time and more, because he does show all the traits. He doesn't have a large body of work like other people have because he's had to sit behind first round draft pick after his first round draft pick after first round draft pick. But when they call his number, he is in the game and he does his job and he does it well with a mean streak.
He reminded me a lot of watching him play. He reminds me of Isaac Seumalo, who was with Philly for years and ended up going to Pittsburgh in the offseason and free agency. Man, one of those guys, doesn't matter where you put him in, that he's going to solidify that spot over there because he's just durable and one of those guys that just gets the job done. And I think his temperament, I think a temperament in an offensive lineman gives you another level to, there's a certain amount of resistance that comes with a temperamental guy. You know what I mean? He's just not gonna, he doesn't take getting beat. You know what I mean? So I see that in this kid. He's gonna show up on the radar on somebody's team this year. And wherever he lands at, man, I'm gonna be interested to see what happens. But Quinn Carroll is a guy, I don't know if he's on the field today. We're gonna watch the game here in a minute, but watch out for this guy tonight. Let me see. What we got here? We've been looking for a running back. And this is all for you. This is all for you, Minister Charles Johnson. You've been looking for a running back that has the size, the power, and one of those guys that's just an every down back. And nobody's talking about Marcus Major, but Marcus Major has everything. If you want to see a real lengthy, some real lengthy tape of him, go, because I think he's only been at Minnesota for a season, and he did pretty good while he was at Minnesota. But some of his better film is that when he transferred from Oklahoma, he got in the portal and came to Minnesota, but he was at Oklahoma first. But Marcus Major has everything you want, and what he reminds me of is Jonathan Taylor in Indy. That's kind of who he reminds me of when I watch him play FFG. He's got everything, man. Powerful runner with really, really good vision. And he's got some lateral quickness in the hole that's pretty rare for a guy his size, 220. That's a pretty thick running back, man. To be able to move in the hole and have that lateral agility is pretty special, man. And he's pretty good in pass pro too. So he's got everything, man. He's a good pass catcher. He's good in pass pro, powerful, and has good lateral ability inside the hole and can get out of trouble real quick. So, I mean, he's got everything you want.
He's a dude that we wish we had got out of your boy from Texas. As a big back that has the power, can pass protect, because at his size, when he gets in the open field, he got breakaway speed. But it's amazing how big he is to be moving like that. And the way he puts on moves in the hole and downfield, you'd be surprised. And he don't even look 220. That's the thing. He really plays between somewhere from 205 to 215. They say once he puts on enough muscle, he'll be a solid 220, and there won't be no stopping him. But yeah, this is the kid that you want as your power back, because he don't got to be 235, 240. This is the kid that can be your hammer, but he can also, if he breaks it or he gets through the hole, now you're getting positive yards, 15, 20, 35, 40 yards down the field, which we don't have a power back that can do that right now. So this is a kid you could steal in the 4th or 5th round at running back and really have something for the future. And one thing he doesn't do, he don't play with his head down and get knocked out all the time, where he's always in concussion protocol. You don't see that. Play every down for Minnesota now that he's got a chance to play, because he was in a crowded backfield at Oklahoma.
So shout out to Jay Capone the Dime, because he made this comment. I was talking to kids last night, because you know I've been cataloging a whole bunch of running backs and checking out a bunch of dudes. I promise you, Jay Capone the Dime, take my word for this and mark this down. I got Jahmyr Gibbs Jr. on the radar, and we're gonna do a running back show, I don't know, in a few weeks or so, once we get through this coaching cycle and they hire that coach, and it's going to be a whole lot of different podcasts we're going to have to do after they hire a coach and we start getting a sense of what direction he wants to take and all those shows. But once we get up out of that cycle, we're going to start actually looking at, I ain't going to call it no big board or nothing like that, but we're going to look at some of the top backs in the draft, some of the sleepers that people ain't talking about. But I definitely got Jahmyr Gibbs Jr. for you. Mark my words, you're going to want to tune in for that one, Jay Capone. I'm telling you, it's going to be, wait till you see this guy. But here we go to the next guy. We only got a couple left. Let me see here. This is one of the worst graphics I had to do, but it was hard to get an image of Darnell Jeffries, a defensive end / defensive tackle. He's 6'3", 285, and he's a senior. Powerful lower body. That's the reason why D end, D tackle / D tackle is up there, because his power in his lower body really stands out. And he's got good pass rush moves for a guy in college, man. It's solid. And you can tell he plays dual roles from the outside to the inside because of how he plays. He's got moves for the inside, for the interior guards, and for the center guard positions, and he's got the moves to handle an outside tackle too. So he's got everything you need, but his power in his lower body is what really stands out to me. It's going to make him very, very flexible and very, very valuable for whatever team he goes on, because every team is always looking for, or every coach rather, is always looking for position versatility. Guys he can slide up and down the line and do different things with. He's got all those kind of traits. But watch Darnell Jeffries, number 8 for Minnesota.
Yeah, this kid, unfortunately for him, the worst thing about his draft stock is probably going to be low. You're probably going to get him like the 5th or 6th round, just because he was taken out of high school by Clemson, and he hardly got to play because they had so many quality defensive linemen ahead of him that when he got his chance, he was able to hold his own, but he didn't get enough snaps to build his repertoire of things he could do on the field. So he's more of a project player to me, but his being raw gives you a chance to mold him because he does have a lot of the traits that you're looking for, and you can make him to whatever kind of defensive lineman you need. So he's not set in stone as an end or a tackle. He can be a lot of different things for your team depending on what you want. And he's the kind of kid that you draft 5th, 6th round and you develop for the next 2-3 years, or at least year and a half. And so when you're ready, now that he's gotten a lot of pro snaps, now he could be a beast for somebody because he's got the playing time, because he just hasn't had the playing time. That's really what his whole issue is. Just not enough on the field time.
Really good piece, versatile piece that you get the right coach in his ear and get the right motivation into his spirit, man. You got you something. But that's Darnell Jeffries, defensive end, defensive tackle. The next guy I want to talk about here is the guy I'm most impressed with on the defensive line of Minnesota is Ja Joyner, 6'5", 265 pounds. I pray that he's out there on the field today, but it would not surprise me if he's not playing and he's going to save all his energy for the Senior Bowl. He did accept the Senior Bowl invite, and I don't know if that's going to affect whether he was out there, but the explosion off the ball is outstanding. 6'5", 265 pounds, powerful. He's got a decent bend for a guy his size. Usually, when you get your guys 6'5", 6'4" and up, they typically don't have a really good bend. That's usually reserved for the guys 6'3" and under. You know what I mean? Those guys usually had a better bend, but for a guy his size, the bend is outstanding. Take you some time and do yourself a favor and check out you some Ja Joyner. And I guarantee you, nobody else is talking about this cat, but I guarantee you by the time you get done watching this tape, you're going to be telling everybody and their damn mama about it. Ja Joyner is going to be special on this next level.
2 things jump out when you put the tape on. Number 1, he got quick speed off the edge. He be leaving people in the dust. And he is so long, that's where his bend actually makes him devastating, because when he puts those arms out, it's either he's swiping you or coming inside, and he gets a lot of tackles. And one thing that you don't see about a lot of defensive ends, he is an excellent tackler, not only for quarterbacks, but running backs, tight ends. He diagnoses plays very, very quickly because of his speed. Or he already disrupted the play, so now he knows where the ball is going, and boom, he's on somebody. Even misdirection, he's back into play, making, instead of it being an 8 to 10 yard play, it's a 2 or 3 yard play. His quickness, with that speed that he has, it translates to power so quickly on top of offensive linemen. They are scared to death of this kid coming off the edge. And when they back up, he comes right inside and boom.
I want to ask you, when you start looking at the film, is he the guy you were most impressed with when you watched the Minnesota defense, or am I just making stuff up?
No, it's evident. He's coming off the ball so fast that the defensive tackles get their push after he's already upfield. So he's forcing the quarterback into them. So if he doesn't get the sack, they fall in his lap. Defensive tackle's like, hey, look what I found. Because the quarterback is on the move immediately. It's just sad. This kid is fast. And I get to watch him all the time living here in Minnesota. And he's on the news like every week. They're talking about who is going to take him in the first round. Trust me, there was a thing on him yesterday about this bowl game because of his devastatingly quick burst off the line, his length. I mean, you wouldn't believe how long I don't know, what is it, 36 and a half, 37-inch arms or whatever he got, because he's tall. And at 6'5", it looks like he's 7 foot out there because of how long his arms are. Trust me, I watch this kid a lot, and he's their best defensive player, put it that way.
He's an absolute like and Jay Capone, the Don, is asking me, so Joyner can be what Verse is to the Rams. It's all about how you apply him. How do you use him? You know what I mean? What do you ask him to do? And so his skill set and talent are just, you can't question it. Once you look at the film, you're going to know this dude got everything you need and some. He's got extra. But it's about how they apply him. And what's interesting about what's going to happen with us in the offseason is whether they stick to the 4-3 the scheme or whether they go the other direction and start. I've been watching a whole lot of Brian Flores tape. Good Lord, it's impressive, man. And this is one of those guys that can, in any kind of system, man, no matter what kind of system they put him in, is how much development he's going to get. Is he going to be under the right coach to ask him to do the right things and done? Sometimes there is a world where you can get overcoached, where coaches put too much information in your head and you're thinking about too much at the line of scrimmage and you're not using your natural instincts to really do the things that you can do. And so every player that's coming into the league will have the threat of that no matter where he goes. Is he going to have the kind of coach that simplifies the game for him or just overcomplicated with just too much coaching? That's the question. And that's why I can't wait to see who they choose as a head coach here in Chicago, because what they do with the defense, we need versatile pieces like this cat right here. It's just going to be a special player right here.
No matter what I would say about him, just imagine if Jacob Martin was his size. Right now, the number 52 for the Bears, just imagine he was 6'5", 265, and coming off the edge on the other side for Montez Sweat, the two defense ends we would have right now.
He's got Jacob Martin speed.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So what Cornelius just asked me a question. What round do you think he would go in? It's always hard to know that, man, because if I'm in somebody's building and we're getting ready to do the draft and they're marking up that board and putting people where you think they might go, like this dude is going to be one of my top edge rushers. Like he's definitely in that top 10, probably top 7 or 5. Like for real, this dude has got that kind of skill set. So it's always interesting to see how they go about, what happens early in the draft and who starts that run on, let's say, edge rushers or offensive tackles kind of dictates where the rest of the draft is going to go. And so you'll see some guys tumble that shouldn't because everybody's trying to rush and get the next best edge rusher or next best offensive tackle or the next quarterback, whatever it is. But it's just hard to know. But if I had to give you a good solid guess, somewhere in the second or third, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I can almost guarantee you he's going to be a second-round pick because all the big names you hear, especially from all the ACC and the SEC and the Big Ten and all the big names that are pushed out there, that nobody's really talking about this kid from Minnesota because they're not a high-profile team. What's their record? 6-6. So he's probably not going to get as much, flowers as everybody else. But if he there, and when we pick number 41 or whatever, after we got our linemen, I'll take them and develop that. And that way, you have a serious rotation at defensive end because you can put him on the other side. So you got him, you got Booker, and now you could put Jacob Martin or the other cat that made the roster. Now you have a rotation of just motor that can tackle, and that's what we need, quality defensive ends that can tackle. Now, I don't think he's going to go undrafted Sproles. I really don't think he's going to.
If that happens, that'd be a huge mistake.
That'd be a steal of the draft.
That'd be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
But you never know. But Sproles, you never know. To your point, you never know what happened. I've seen some pretty good players not get drafted. And it ain't no fault of their own. It's just, I don't know. It's some weird stuff that goes on sometimes in the league when they start drafting players, man. Some really good players, like some of the better players I've ever seen in my life went undrafted. Like Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers type players. They've gone undrafted, man. But, damn, this is turning into, let me see. The people that I'm looking for really ain't even on the field. So I don't even know if we doing ourselves a good service by really, really watching this game. Let me see. I'm looking at, let me take this down. So I'm looking at the game right now. I'm looking at Virginia Tech on defense. And I don't know that I'm seeing the players that I'm looking. I see Aeneas Peebles out there. Aeneas Peebles is definitely on the field, number 22. They're on defense. Let me see. They got a lot of backups out here. Aeneas Peebles feel like he's got something to prove. And Minnesota is back to throw it. Should we talk about this game or should we continue to talk about some players? What y'all want to do, No Maniacs? Let me know. You right about that. John Randall did go undrafted. So, all that kind of stuff was really like, I know a good GM is going to clean up post-draft.
8 minutes to go in the game because they wouldn't postpone it for 25 minutes.
I'm muted, FFG. You unmute yourself when you get back and you're ready.
I'm sorry about that. My woman just got home. I had to help her in the house.
I was just asking the No Maniacs what they would rather do, talk about this game or keep talking about players.
Well, and we could do
right
both.
Right out the gate, Sproles said he want to talk about players.
Right. I would say that too, just because I've been looking and a lot of the people we did profile are not playing. I don't know why they're not playing, but they're not playing. And so that's
what up, Trax? All right, so I got two answers in a row that says, let's talk about some more players. Let me see what I got in the shoot. Let me see here. Might have to talk about some dudes we talked about before, but it's worth doing it. Let me see here.
Ooh,
let's talk about.
Hold on, Nomad, because everybody does watch college football out there. Everybody's got their own opinion, and this is just the off-brand player or the position I think we need. I want to kind of know what everybody feels that we need at running back, like who they feel would be the best complement or to take over for Mr. Swift going forward.
Ain't nobody taking over for DeAndre Swift.
Well, we don't know, man. We don't know.
They got him under contract. DeAndre Swift gonna be it. It's about whether they get a complimentary back to him. You know what I mean? And but we'll get to that. We'll get to that because I'm gonna walk you right on into that conversation. FFG, promise you that. let's start here. And Kelvin Banks, Texas tackle, 6'4", 320-pound junior. He is definitely coming out in the draft this year. The I don't pay attention a whole lot to other people's commentary when it comes to this. Not that I'm arrogant enough to think that I know everything, but I just don't listen to what other people have to say about a player. I just put my eyes on it and let me determine what I think about a football player. And I think Kelvin Banks he's better than average at everything. Let's just say that he's better than average at everything. He's got the potential to be great at it all. But I think even him, and I believe that it's a good solid chance that he is the first or second tackle that comes off the board this year. Good solid chance that between him and Will Campbell, one of those two is going to be the first tackle off the board this year. But none of them are finished projects. None of them are finished products, I meant. And so I think Kelvin Banks Jr. he does everything good. But to do it really well, I think it's going to take him, just like any other good lineman, offensive tackle, it's going to take him a year or two to really, really get used to the speed of the NFL, because you can see some really, really elite college players start to give him trouble at times. So I think Kelvin Banks is definitely the truth. I think for him to manifest that, like, I'm a dominant offensive tackle in the NFL, might not be just like that. Snap, plug, play him, and that's what's going to happen. And so I think highly of Kelvin Banks. But just like any other young player coming into the league, it's going to take him a little bit of time too.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. This kid has got a lot of intangibles, and he does play well. The thing that's more concerning me over him is not his play, but he's getting hurt more and more as his career has gone on coming into the NFL. And I'm at the point where I'm not drafting no more broke up cats.
Don't hit the table, FFG. Just talk. Don't hit that table.
I know. I'm just not drafting no more dudes that got injury prone coming into the league, because that's stunning their growth. That's not helping our quarterback or our line having continuity. It's a detriment, you know. And the only lineman that we've drafted in the last 8 years is Darnell Wright, that wasn't hurt coming in. Everybody else has been dinged up in some kind of way, or even in free agency, people dinged up. I'm tired of that. I don't want to do it. And it ain't like they getting hurt in the game. They getting hurt before they got here or in practice. And it's lingering injuries that has really stalled the progression of these quarterbacks, because they're getting killed because we can't sustain an offensive line to protect them.
You know what? Let me take this graphic down right quick. To answer this question right quick, Joseph Archer just asked, he said, Nomad, what order do you think that the Bears are going to draft or going to go first in the draft? Do you think Pose is going to get it right with this draft? I got confidence that he will. You know, I think, like, to me, Joseph, I think the smartest thing for Ryan Poles, and this is just my opinion, and you guys can tell me if you agree or not. I think the best thing that Ryan Poles can do in this draft is let go of that first pick and get some assets. Not only that, maybe trade during the draft to get you some additional assets. I don't think 7 picks fixes the situation in Chicago. I think you can get some top-notch guys in the first and second round. Top-notch, I mean pure blue chip guys. And with that first round pick, you move down 4 or 5 spots if you need to get you some extra assets. But I don't think going into this with 7 draft picks, you got and to be honest with you, I don't think we have the cachet to get the pieces that we need in free agency. That's why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking about what I think Ryan Poles should do. If we had the cachet, or if we were moving in a direction that everybody thought we were going to be moving in this year, then I would say, no, keep that pick and get you a dog with that first round pick, the earliest you can get him. But because I know that he would have been able to get some stud players in free agency. I'm going to be honest with you. We won't get the pick of the litter in free agency this year, because this team doesn't look like the team that's going in the right direction so far. So I mean, he's going to have to draft to get the pieces that he wants. And I don't know if you agree with that, FFG, but that's definitely the way I see it.
Well, the one thing that I think in free agency that he needs to attack that would help this draft is pay a veteran center. Pay somebody who's proven, in the top 15, top 10, guaranteed stud at center. So you're not going to rely on a rookie to quarterback the team from the line standpoint. Then you could go hog wild picking linemen to help where he can tell everybody where to go, where to be, how to move as one. But if we don't get that position corrected immediately, then we're going to be in the same boat we're in, where the offensive line is not going to be a factor in these football games if we don't have a stud center. Because when we got Olin Kreutz, we didn't worry about that position for a decade, and everybody who came in, it didn't matter who came in on the other sides around him, he was on a behind, and they lockstep, and we was crushing people in the run game. Didn't matter who was back there.
Yeah, that's something we're gonna be talking about for quite some time before the draft, and it's gonna hit a fever pitch when we get close to it if they don't do something beforehand to trade and get some assets. But I mean, I would just say this: asset wise, I'm talking about draft capital, talking about players on the team, talking about where we are situated with that pick. I think it offers a couple layers of different ways that Ryan Post can do this thing. He could stick and be stubborn and take that pick if it's a particular player there he feels like changes his fortunes here in Chicago. He could do that. I wouldn't suggest that. I don't think there's a player in the draft outside of really Jalen Milroe that's like this nuclear bomb material. Jalen Milroe is a nuclear bomb that will change the game the minute he steps in here. Now, that's a different kind of player. You know what I mean? But other than that, I don't know that there's a player out there. Who's the top player? You got your Shedeur Sanders, you got your Cam Wards, you got your Travis Hunter type guys. You know what I mean? But I don't think they're the nuclear bomb that Jalen Milroe is going to be in the league. He's going to take the league by storm. Straight up, man. I'm telling you right now, Jalen Milroe is going to be a dude. But I just think there's a few ways that Ryan Post can play this. He could stick, stay, and make that first pick pay, right? And get the guy that he actually wants. Or he can play the long game and move a few spots, and get those assets. Or he can do during the draft a nice trade of a Cole Kmet or maybe a Jalen Johnson or somebody like that, and really move up and get into a more advantageous spot. Let's say he missed a guy that he was looking for early in the draft and sees a equal or comparable player that if he doesn't move up a couple of spots to get him, it's different things that he can do in this draft to meet the needs that we need on the team. And, just depends on how he looks at it. Now, I'm going to keep all options on the table. I'm not going to stay married to no player on this team. Nobody. I'm going to keep all my options open and just do it accordingly and get this team better by any means necessary. That's just how I see it. Well, let's get to the next guy. Talked about this guy before. Big Alfred Collins. 6'5", 320-pound senior from Texas. We need meat up front. We need big boys up front that really, really can help us out in the run game. And Alfred Williams, as big as he is at 320 pounds and being 6'5", I think he's got the foot quickness and the ability to be able to use his hands so where you can slide him out and get him some three technique kind of work. You can get him out there on the edge, and you can do a lot with Alfred Collins, man. I think Alfred Collins is going to be a dog, and I think he's going to be a dog on the next level. Kind of reminds me of like a diet version of Calais Campbell. Is kind of what he reminds me of with that arm length and how easy he just pushes into the backfield. Calais Campbell has those types of traits. But hey, Alfred Collins is a dog.
So to me, he's got stud written all over him. He would be the great replacement or to learn behind Billings, so that rotation never falls off. So that would shore up our run game. And eventually he could become the starter, and then you could draft somebody behind him in about 2 or 3 years to keep that rotation fresh and strong, because I don't think Billings is going to be playing, based on his health for that much longer, because he's a strong man and he's built on power. His quickness is diminished a little bit since he's been playing with the Raiders and now with us for a couple of years. You can see it. His power's still there, but his quickness has kind of lacked. But you're right, 100%. What I would do if it was me, I'd straight up be like, look, we ain't picking at number 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever the hell it ends up being, right? I'm trading back to 15 to 18, and I'm picking up a second round and a third round pick, or a second and a fourth round pick to go with. So now I can really fill out all these needs I have on the line. And if I can get a quality corner, or if I can get a,
got to remember, we're talking about Alfred Collins. I'm just trying to help out for the shorts.
Right. Well, for him too, because we already have a great one on him, Alfred Collins. But yeah, he's going to dominate at that one tech, literally dominate. But for him to come in as a rotational piece to start his career and then work his way into becoming a starter, I think he can really learn behind Billings, and with his power and athleticism, because he does move the pile. This kid, and he's stout at the point of attack. He makes a lot of tackles for a loss because he can't get in the backfield. So if we're looking at somebody in the first round, we could get him about 16, 17 if we were going to go deep as a line, or we might even be able to get him in the beginning of the second round, depending on how whatever the run is, because it's crazy every year. But I would love to have this kid in the rotation, if nothing else, because we would be stout up front, and that's what you want. A big body in there to be able to hold the point of attack. Now let your linebackers play downhill, and he's a consummate projection to have on the defensive line to let your linebackers flourish and let them earn the money they already make it.
So if you guys are enjoying this, man, and highlighting these players and putting these guys in the spotlight and giving them attention, this is just beginning. We ain't even scratched the surface yet. We got a ton to do. I got just the players I got in the media profile. We talking about centers. I saw somebody mention center. This is a guy everybody needs to pay attention to as well. I think he got slid over to guard. I don't know. I think it might have got slid over to the guard in that last game or the game before that. But Jake Majors is a guy, sometimes I look at the weight 315, right? And it tends to worry me, because sometimes, when you got your I forget the D tackle in with the Giants right now, how this dude is a straight up mammoth, man. And sometimes I get worried when I see a guy 315 trying to manage some of those big old boys in there. And to be truthful with you about it, is this dude is pretty strong and pretty stout up front and anchors pretty well, man. Jake Majors is a guy, I don't know that many people who are talking about him, but he's definitely somebody you need to put on your radar. Does everything well, man. He's a leader in the on the offensive line. Really, really good at. You can tell that the quarterback benefits for having him there, and he's just a stalwart on that offensive line. And so, like, my thoughts have always been, go and get the center that's been the leader of that unit when he was in college. Go and get the center that's been pretty much the leader of the offensive group and can really, really kind of shape up and like your Olin types. Jake Majors has those kind of skills, that kind of quality set, man. When you check him out away from the field, man, he's a leader. And so I really like this kid, Jake Majors, 6'3", 315-pound senior from Texas.
And the best part about him is exactly what Nomad said. This kid been starting since he was freshman year for Texas in the middle, and he's basically been the quarterback on the line for all the offensive linemen that have come into the league in the last 4 years for Texas. And they have some great players, and they play as a solid unit because of this kid. And the best part about him, not only the size and the power, because he's a smart kid. He's on the honor roll and all that. So he knows what he's doing, and he's got super duper football IQ because, you know, they don't run conventional offense at Texas. They run all kind of herky-jerky stuff. They have been for the last couple of years, but they do run a quality running game, which he dominates in. He ain't never hurt, not once. He ain't never been out for 5 and 6, 7 games, and with this nagging injury, this kid stays healthy, stays on the field, and stays the general on top of everybody else to get them in position on every play. And he is got a super nasty streak about him where when he puts his hands on you, he's trying to take you to the ground.
So I've done a lot of due diligence in this offseason. Oh, and during the season, actually, the offseason ain't got here yet. But I've been working my butt off, man, and we just into the major teams right now. Like I'm about to move into some of the lesser known teams and try to check out their offensive line, seeing if there's, you know, quality centers out there that I ain't paying attention to. But while I'm still on the major teams out there, and I think there's value in, you know, getting a guy from a team that's played major college football and played at the highest level. And I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but my guy Jarrett Wilson, you know, a lot of things went wrong with Georgia and have gone wrong with Georgia this year. This guy ain't it. He's probably, I would say between him and I think the center at Oregon, he's underweight. He's like, that guy might be 290 pounds, maybe less than that, 280, 270 maybe. But he's a lighter guy, but more athletic. But this is an athletic stud of a center right here, and he's a leader. He's flexible as well. I mean, very, very strong. I mean, I think he is, without question, the most athletic center in college football right now. And I think he's going to probably, before very long, is going to end up being a starting center on somebody's team right away. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I believe he'll win if he goes on, let's just say, a team that's center needy like ours. You put him in this building in Chicago, and I guarantee you he'll win that job right away. That's how much I think of Jarrett Wilson.
Yeah, Jarrett Wilson is a player that is, for his size, plays with a lot of leverage and angles. And so it doesn't look like he's the biggest dude out there, but the way he pushes people around, especially in the run game, is devastating. He does have a solid IQ. Now, I'm not sure if he's going to win out a starting job just because he plays next to behemoths all day long. So I think the most important trait for him is his IQ and his quickness and be able to get into play and do his job immediately. So the quarterback, number one, doesn't have an issue worried about him being overran or being out of position because he does a lot of double teams and is right off to the next man, picking up the linebacker on a blitz or the safety or whoever's trying to come in that gap. And it gives the quarterback just that much more time to perform or catch an open receiver downfield or let somebody get to the open spot where they want him. So that's his best trait that I see is he knows exactly what he's doing on every play all the time and has the foot speed, the power, and the quickness to get there. Because he'd be great as a pulling center, especially when we run these toss plays and these outside zones and all this other kind of stuff. He can move down the line as well and take people out, because he can move defensive tackles because of the way he plays with his angles. He's moving them to open those holes, or he get underneath them to push him back the other way to open a hole. So that's what I love about this kid.
Hey, I hear you. I might disagree with you about whether or not I really think he can come in and win somebody's starting job like right now. I think he can, just playing at Georgia and playing at that competition level. This guy is not used to the highest competition. I think this dude is exactly what you're looking for, and I think he's athletic as hell and everything you want to build with a young quarterback. Man, I think he's perfect, as a matter of fact. But we'll save that for another conversation. Let's move to, because we do have a guard. I think we're gonna have to draft maybe two, and I think this dude right here, DJ Campbell, 6'3", 330 pounds. The more and more I watch him, and the more and more I study the guy, it went from the tape, FFG, and then it went to what kind of person is he? You know, what kind of life did he have outside of football? You know, that kind of, like, he was a top-notch basketball player in high school. Look at this guy. You know, imagine that. This dude is an absolute joy to watch. I mean, and he's everything personality-wise and everything you need. He's got the right temperament, the right power. I mean, he's just a powerful dude that we need beef up front. And so when I tell you, athletically, physically, mentally, he has all the tools to be that on the next level and some. Like, dude, this cat right here is so fun to watch. You got to turn on some DJ Campbell tape and tell me what you think when you come back into the next show. But I'm telling you, you're going to have a ball watching this dude play football.
He's what you want at guard. He's stout in the run game. He's very powerful in the pass protection. He doesn't lose balance. So if you notice a lot of the guards, how would they be getting beat so quick on these stunts and things like that? He doesn't do that because he gets hands on folks. And when he put hands on folks, a lot of times they don't want none after 5 or 6 plays. So they kind of shift around and try to, hit the gap on them and stuff like that. And he just, see ya. So, yeah, this kid really does have what Nomad said, the even keel temperament to play the position. He doesn't get too hot. He doesn't get too low. He's more of just a steady, solid lineman that knows exactly what he's doing. And that's what you really want, is a guy that hones in on his assignment and tries to dominate his man on every play. He doesn't take plays off. And that's what I noticed about this kid. Never takes a play off, ever. He's always out there. And because of his size, he puts it on you. He doesn't have a lot of wasted motion either, where he's moving around. He's like, 1, 2, boom, I'm in you. And now I got you locked up. And now I'm either pushing you this way or that way, depending on whether it's a run or it's a pass, or I'm keeping you off, the quarterback. So that's what I like about him. He knows his technique very well. And we could definitely use a big, beefy guy that has those fundamentals with great feet. Because if you notice this year, a lot of guards be getting beat on the inside. And so that center position has been okay, but it ain't been great. So them 1, 2, 3 in the middle. And I see in the chat, everybody saying, O-line, lineman, period. And I really think that's what we need to focus in on, is lineman. And he'd be a great addition as far as lineman, because I think this kid could take a starting job, especially if Bates or whatever is always hurt, or depending on where we get back, who's just now becoming a pro-ready guard. They're going to have some competition next year. That's for sure. Our offensive line will not be trash.
Look, last thing I'll say about DJ Campbell, just to show you guys that I do my homework. So DJ Campbell, and I'm serious when I tell you guys I do my homework. I take it to the levels I need to make sure when I come live, I can tell you the right stuff. And DJ Campbell's named after his uncle, who was a stud football player in his area. You know what I mean? Stud football player. And he's pretty much raised him, and he coached him in high school. And so, they did an interview with him, and they were asking him about DJ. And he's like, what is it about DJ that he's named after you? What is translated about you? He said, I made sure that he understood 110% that you got to be nasty. He said, nasty wins in football. You got to be nasty. And then the interview went to DJ, and you can see Like you can literally see the word nasty means something to him. It's a mindset. And it's a way of being. And he's a nice kid. He's a funny kid, but he's also got that switch that turns on when he's playing football. He will just tell him what to do. You ain't got to tell him to be nasty. He'll do that all on his own. But nastiness, that's an inherent trait of DJ Campbell, man. He's named after the right person that won't accept anything less than that. And so I'm telling you, he's going to be a stud, one of the stud tackles in the NFL in the next couple of years. I guarantee you that. But we'll move on to the next guy because this guy right here.
He's going to be a guard. Ain't gonna be DJ Campbell.
Huh? What?
DJ Campbell's a guard.
Did I say tackle?
He's a guard, not tackle.
Did I say tackle? Oh, my bad. Of course.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to make sure. It's all good, baby. It's all.
Here we go. This guy right here generates a lot of conversation. Mikael Williams, Georgia, defensive end / linebacker, 6'5", 265-pound junior. This dude, I'm interested to see what happens to him on the next level because physically and athletically, there is nothing this cat can't do. Absolutely nothing. I mean, he won the genetic lottery by a landslide. I mean, it's not even, this dude is physically everything you want in a football player. Mind, the right mind, temperament, physical traits, everything you want. And what people do with him, some people see him as one of the better pass rushers in the draft. I don't. I think he's a really raw football player from the pass rusher standpoint. I think his power, his speed to power is going to overwhelm several tackles in the league because it's just that overwhelming. His speed to power is awesome. But after that, once they catch up to him, when he has to develop pass rushing moves, I see no traits of variety in his sets. You know what I mean? So he's gonna have to stuff a few things in his tool bag, bro. And I think, depending on what he does, to be honest with you, he's a perfect 3-4, basically that kind of linebacker / edge rusher that can play in space and play grass and play the rush too. You know what I mean? So I think he's a perfect athlete. And if we go hybrid and go with another defense, this would be one of the guys I would want Ryan Poles to target early if we had to do that.
Yeah, for me, he's Leonard Floyd 2.0.
Oh,
Seriously.
no. Oh, no.
I'm talking about better. He's better than Leonard Floyd with all his athletic ability. So he would be a perfect outside linebacker that plays there's a rushed end. I really think that's where he's going to excel. Now, if he puts on another 10, 15 pounds, he may be able to put his hand in the dirt, but he's going to have to learn on the fly because his athletic ability is not going to save him at the next level because he hasn't developed a repertoire of pass rush moves. But what you said is true. His speed to power is ridiculous because he does have those athletic traits that are like unfortunately, like he got Julius Peppers type athletic ability. He just don't have Julius Peppers size. You know what I mean? Julius Peppers could dunk a basketball. This kid probably ain't no joke on the basketball court, but he can't get around the edge and hold the point of attack like Julius. But playing outside linebacker, he can missile up anybody and hold, he'd have a lot of tackles for a loss in a 3-4 defense. A lot of them. And he'd be harassing quarterbacks left and right for what I see. Because this kid does have everything you need as far as athletically just to be anywhere on the field. And depends on who drafts him, how they're going to use him, is going to really determine his future.
Yeah, I think he's gonna, let's say you put him in let's say he's really a bigger Quay Walker is what he is to me. He's like he plays the exact role that Quay Walker played when he was at Georgia, but he's just a little bit bigger and stronger than Quay Walker. Quay Walker is pretty big and strong. This guy he's just gonna be one of those freak athletes that you can't really put a ceiling on. And if you just determine ahead of time that I'm gonna make him into an edge rusher, or I'm gonna make him this drop back 3-4 outside linebacker, or if you decide, some people think that he can play middle linebacker. I think he could too. He's that athletic. But if you put a ceiling on the guy instead of like the really good coaches do, is you go out there and put him on the grass, look at the concept of your defense, and determine what kind of, and be creative in what kind of role you can use him in. I think he's going to be a star on the next level. But it all depends on who he goes to and how creative his coordinator is about letting him play downfield and aggressive.
Hey, Nomad, who's the stud on Dallas right now? That's the linebacker, edge rusher, because they play him everywhere. I just can't think of his name right now. And he's been rumored to come to the Bears and trades and all that kind of BS. But he generally does play linebacker, but he could be that kind of a impactful player on a team.
Oh, he's got Michael Parsons.
Yeah, Michael Parsons. Yeah,
he does have that kind of feel to him when you watch him play, because you can line him like Michael Parsons coming at you from the edge, from a wide nine, from an interior set. He's gonna stand up in the middle of the defense, right behind the interior tackle, and come at you from the middle. He's gonna come at you from every way. Michael Parsons will jump out there and play somebody in coverage. He is that type of athlete. Good, very good comparison, FFG. I really didn't let that go through my head. I kept thinking Quay Walker, but you are absolutely right. Michael Parsons is a very good comparison to this guy.
Yeah, but he's not set at one position because they move him all over the field, which gives him an advantage where he's not just getting pounded on by 350-pound dudes all day long.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take the player stuff down for a minute. We're gonna check out this game for it. Let's see what's going on.
Man, I've been looking to see if I find anybody who we talked about. It's hard.
It's hard to find them, ain't it?
It's hard as fuck. It's hard to find any of these dudes out here today. And I'm like, come on, man. And somebody.
Can you see the screen?
Hold on. I'm just watching the game. Oh, yeah, I got that up already. I'm going back to because I wanted to see if they were going to use your boy Tootin. I want to see if his chances to get the rock. I think he just got ran over.
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out why in the hell I can't slide my screen up a little bit more. Oh, here we go. Bam, button was stuck. There we go. All right. So we got Minnesota 14, Virginia Tech 7. Don't look like a whole hell of a lot's been going on. None of the guys that we want to really watch. I don't think I'm seeing a whole lot.
Just scored. They just went right down the field on them.
I don't know what you and Minister Charles in here arguing about, Scrolls. You better leave Minister Charles alone.
They've been going at it. They go at it. It's crazy.
Yeah. He said, Scrolls said he doesn't think that playing the game makes you a better teacher of it. I would vehemently disagree with that.
Yeah,
there's a certain level to playing the game that somebody that hasn't played can't bring to the table.
Yeah, I have to argue that all day too, because knowing from experience in anything in life gives you an upper hand and a perspective that you can't just tell somebody by looking at it. That's like saying, well, yeah, here's a way to fix an engine. You really never fix the engine. Do you really know what the hell you're talking about? Or you just know where the pieces go?
Especially a game like football, man. Like there's no experience like that, man. There's no experience like that at all. The more and more of it you play, the more and more, there's no substitute for playing the game and being able to talk about it. It's like when you do it on a certain level, especially when you do it at levels, you get to a certain point, it's just like I could talk to anybody about football. I don't care if it's a Hall of Fame player, we can relate to each other because of the experiences that we've had. You know what I mean? His might have been on a further level than mine, but football is the same. You know what I mean? It's just, so I would just disagree with that. Scrolls, I ain't got nothing against you, bro. I just, that experience does make a difference.
I just don't want to see the mayonnaise at the end because I think that's just ridiculous. Whoever win this game, I think that's going to be sad. Coach have to be slimy after the game. I'd rather have Gatorade all day. I saw some interesting things as far as one thing that I did pick up on that people are talking about that I would like to find out, especially depending on who the coach is. Who do you think is going to be, or who is potentially being the next offensive line coach, which is really going to determine who we draft and all that kind of stuff?
There's no way. There's too many people to think about, and once you get the coach, then it's going to be easier to try to narrow down where he might find the offensive line coach from. It's usually going to be based on his travels, where he's been, the people he's come in contact with, who his mentors are, who tells him, who he has experience of watching, he like those guys know those guys. You know what I mean? They know who the really good ones are. And so, like if I said that, okay, Brian Flores might be the next coach, but he might go and try and lure the offensive line coach from his last stop in Pittsburgh or something like that, before he got the Minnesota job. You know what I mean? He might like that guy out there, but that can go a lot of different ways, and it really ain't no real strong way of predicting that.
And that's my whole point is, so we're looking at all these offensive linemen and different sizes and different strengths and weaknesses, and I'm really want to know who we think or what kind of offense they're going to put on the field, because I think that too. I think that we should stick more to a West Coast style of offense that everybody is familiar with, but focus more on a running game, because that's one thing that the Niners have over everybody else. That I think they may not always be great, but they block and run the ball, and they play as one unit, and so it's consistent that's how they're going to beat you up front, physicality. And that's what I want the Bears to go back to, is physicality, because that's what we've always been known for on both sides of the ball. And I think it's sorely lacking these days that we're not physical up front. And so whoever the coach is, whoever we give the reins to, or especially an offensive coordinator, if we have a defensive coach, I think that needs to be the focus. And then that way you can say, okay, here's who I want in the free agency. I need this dude to anchor my line, or I need this guard, or I need this tackle, or I need this, and this. And we got, like what you guys said, we don't have $88 million. And I don't know if that even includes Keenan Allen's money. You know what I mean?
Something I wanted to point out, and I've been meaning to do it, for a minute, but something really sticks out to me about the run game and Caleb Williams and the snap count and cadence. Something's up with that, and I've been hearing reports saying that Caleb is having trouble. He's been having trouble all year with cadence, snap counts, and reading defenses. That's just been one of those words that's out there in the streets, But it's very rare. Like when you look at an NFL team that constantly gets their offensive line constantly gets beat off at the point of attack. You'll see that happen like periodically during the game, like a defensive team will start dominating an offensive line, like for a quarter or two, you know what I mean, towards the end of games and stuff like that. But rarely do you see a team do that from the beginning to the end, multiple games in a row. And I'm starting to understand something now, that it might be these teams have figured out Caleb's cadences, and they're getting off the ball before our offensive line is getting off the ball on a regular basis. That's starting to look like something that's pretty clear to me. And when I heard that report about he's having trouble with cadences and stuff like that, you look at it on the All-22 FFG, and it's real easy to detect. Like, why is this defensive line constantly getting off the ball before we can get off the ball and get at them? They're beating us to the punch every time, and everybody's wondering why DeAndre Swift can't really get no traction on the ground. It's because they're getting their butts kicked at the front, and it ain't because they're less talented. Something might be wrong with the cadence and the snap calls. I mean, the play counts. whatever. Something might be wrong in that department. And when I heard that story, it started to make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, I think another thing is that he's so used to not doing it that he's probably got a certain flow that they don't have, like code words and things like that they switch up from game to game. So he may be using the same, hunter, and pointing folks out that he's been using it from game 2, and people just look at the tape like, oh, he called Hunter, this is what they're going to do. So this is how to beat that. They're going to run this play because he's calling that. This is what we're going to check into. You see what I'm saying? Because he makes a lot of checks at the line, that become terrible plays. It's a lot of times when you watch him check into a play, they're never usually quality positive plays down the field where he makes a quality decision right away. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I think does happen in the NFL. The more tape you watch on somebody, the more tendencies that you seem to pick up on. And that way, by the time you get to play them, now you've seen it 15, 20, 150 times, and it hasn't changed. It's the same exact thing. And I think that is something that the new coach or whoever's going to be running the offense needs to correct for him, that he needs to have whatever code words he's going to have for the offensive line. You know what I'm saying? Let that be for the game. You know what I mean? Or for a team, they don't play that often, so they don't know what's coming, because I think for the most part, they know what's coming. And I think that's where we're getting killed, is a lot of teams are right up on that situation where they figured out what he's checking into based on the front they give him. You know what I mean? He's only seeing this. So when we do this, he gonna check into that, and then we switch right out of it, and boom, we on y'all behind.
There's a such thing, and there's a world where you get to doing so much, with the quarterback, and different stuff schematically, and trying to, it's already enough to get the verbiage down before you even get out the huddle. Just getting to the huddle, getting all that spit out your mouth, and making sure, you got the play call on right. Now you got to go to the line of scrimmage and see how the alignments are. Try to make sure you got your protections right. Looking to see if you can identify what you need to identify pre-snap. And I think they've had a struggle with Caleb Williams and keeping some symmetry about it. And I think the default position, FFG, is to dumb it down as much as you can. And if that means, they be able to jump snap counts on you, then so be it. But the more and more you put on this kid at this point is detrimental to him. Can you understand where that world might be coming from?
Yeah, but here's another thing that I think is probably lacking as well, from a schematic standpoint, is they're watching film on these other teams all week long. Some teams are going to play twice. So they know what they're doing, and they have a lot of tape on most of these teams that they played, other than the teams at fourth place schedules on the AFC and things like that, that they kind of know what these guys are doing, and we've seen it. The team has seen it. Other players on the team have seen it. So where is the, I'd have to say, like, where's the continuity? Like, say, hey, yeah, we know they do this. They're going to pretend to do this, and they're going to jump out, because if I'm in motion, if I do this, they're not coming. You know what I mean? And you have your weekly game plan for that team, and you've seen what they do enough, or at least now that he's played almost a whole season, that you can kind of diagnose things a lot quicker. You know what I mean? This has to do with having been played the game, even at the NFL level, and say, okay, yeah, we saw this in practice. We saw this on tape. Now I kind of have a better understanding of what checks to make or when not to make a check, and see what they do. So see if we can catch them off guard, because they have no idea what we're finna do right now. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the times that they've been messing with this kid, trying to throw so much at him and make him make a mistake, thinking he knows what's coming and he doesn't. So sometimes I wish he'd rather trust the play and what he's seen teams do. Touchdown, Minnesota, 20-7. That I really wish that he would kind of try, because I've noticed that For a rookie, he changed a lot of plays. You know,
I think they've tailored that. I think that's probably one of the first things that I noticed that was different about Thomas Brown was that he definitely pared that down quite a bit. I'm seeing adjustments at the line of scrimmage a lot. When I say adjustments, I mean, they've got signals to, for hot routes and different things like that to adjust them. You know what I mean? Instead of doing a short, curl or something like that, he might wave both of his arms like he's flapping his wings or something like that to fly. You know what I mean? To go deep and take this deep if it opens up. Adjustments are different than audibles at the line. And I don't think he's doing the audible stuff that he was doing before. I think he has from time to time, but not nowhere near what he was doing when Shane Waldron was a coach. That's probably something that Thomas Brown identified right away to say, like, that's the first thing I'm gonna do to fix this thing if they're gonna put the shit in my lap is make sure he's not doing so much. He already got too much on his hands.
Right, and that's what I saw too. That when Shane Waldron was a coach, I think he gave this kid way too much leeway and said, "Hey, I need you to know this backwards and forwards, 100%. And then if you can see something that you need to make an adjustment to, or we'll see it on the sideline in this drive, then yeah, we can make that adjustment. But don't you take it upon yourself to keep adjustment after adjustment or changing the play after changing the play. Now you trying to remember too much, and then when the play breaks down."
If they gave him that leeway, he took it for what it was worth, and might have been too much for him. I don't blame a coach for that. You got to find out what your quarterback can do. You take him out there, and it's basically you test driving your new car. You just got it off the lot, and you want to see what it can do, right? Open that thing on up, see what it can do, man. And they did that, and I think it backfired on him. I think a pared down version was the best thing for Caleb. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah, we're gonna take a look at this game, but I don't think the O-line, and I was proud of Caleb. I would say this, that he went in front of the media and took credit. I mean, just basically took the darts, took the arrows to the chest, about the O-line play, because the truth is a lot of it ain't them. And that's just the God's honest truth. But let's check this game out. Let me see. Because Jay Capone the Don says Darius Taylor from Minnesota looks nice. Must be talking about that running back.
Yeah, he just scored on a 28-yard touchdown run.
I'm seeing a whole bunch of dudes. This like a whole bunch of backups, man. It's almost not even worth watching the second half of this game.
Oh, it's a lot of backup dudes. Don't get me wrong. That's a lot of backup dudes. But Taylor does have 2 touchdowns so far. I mean, he got a pass for a touchdown, and he's also got a 28-yard rushing touchdown. And when he got to the outside, he put the wheels on just now. So that kid, of all the people that we have on this list, he's actually playing well, but he ain't one of the people we profile. You know what I mean?
And that's all right. But, the truth is we're looking at a whole bunch of underclassmen out there getting opportunities, because a lot of these dudes are getting ready, they're getting their body ready for the combine and all that different stuff, the pro days. And, this ain't a big deal. I should have thought about this real thoroughly before we came on. I'd have probably designed the show different. I didn't think this through, man, because I don't know. I probably should have did a little bit more research on who was playing and who wasn't playing. I didn't have time to do all that, but I'd have probably designed this production a little different, man, because we ain't getting to see nobody. And this is just underclassmen. Most of these guys ain't coming out.
Yeah, because a lot of and we don't know who may have some kind of injury or whatever that they don't want to aggravate, or something, soft tissue, this or that they don't want to have.
Nah, they just getting ready for their pro days and combine and all that. It's admirable, bro.
No, but I think there's some people that are a little dinged up too, not major injuries, but it's better for them to heal during this time. And so in the next week or two, now they can get back in their routine to get ready for the combine, because they're going to have to do 60 to 90 days of straight workout stuff to get better at, just for the numbers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's basically what they're going to do. all the combine is basically like a track meet type of situation where you're not really playing, you're just displaying. You know what I mean? Your athletic prowess. That's all the combine is. It's putting your athletic prowess on display.
It's a big waste of time, and it's a big waste of time. But a lot of people are gonna stop doing that. But for a lot of people that really need that I guess that exposure, it's gonna be a bunch of people that still need the combine. But there's a bunch of people that are gonna be like, man, screw that. I ain't finna put myself out there like that and take an opportunity to get hurt. Nah, dude. But I'm finna, maniacs tell me what I should do. I feel like pulling the plug on this whole game altogether. If we want to talk, let's talk some football, talk about some draft picks, let's talk about Chicago, the Bears. Well, I'm thinking it's a waste of movement to even deal with this game right now. I'm thinking about pulling it off the screen. Give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. Let me know, and I'll do what you guys say. No, I'm talking about thumbs up, like good idea, take it off the screen. Thumbs down, like no, I want to keep watching.
Oh, thumbs up. If you take it off the screen, yeah. I thought you meant thumbs up to keep watching. I was like, hell no. Because we're not getting able to preview anybody that's going to be in the upcoming draft anyway at this point.
Yeah, that's a shame. We got the whole off season. I got one thumbs up from the Scrolls. He's like, get it out of here. Get it out of here.
Yeah, we could do a show next Thursday, though. That would be great if we did that Notre Dame Penn State game. Woo! That game, people going to play.
Next Thursday. Let me see. Let me see.
A whole lot of people.
I'm gonna try to commit to that one. And
yeah, whether you did Texas and Ohio State.
I don't know if my girlfriend is off, and I don't want to overcommit. You know what I mean? Because she like a bulldog when she off, man.
I got you. I had to run upstairs because I know my girl was home. I had to go see her.
Yeah. Justin Haynes signs with Michigan. Ooh. All right. So I got 3 thumbs up. That's enough for me. I'm taking it down.
Yeah, the numbers really done
with it.
And I'm almost hardly haven't seen one jersey of anybody that's supposed to be previewed in this game actually playing.
We'll talk about a few more. We'll talk about a few more players before we get up out of here. But we ain't gonna leave y'all high and dry and not talk some football. I would encourage everybody who did not, if you did not watch some Extra Sauce Wednesday night, you missed one of the better shows we ever did, because we went from top to bottom with especially the coaching hires. I mean, the coach search. Different guys that are out there. Every last one of them. Only thing we didn't do was I think we didn't do Pete Carroll and Aaron Glenn. I regret doing that, because we should have talked about them even if it was just for a little bit. We should have talked about definitely Pete Carroll, because he was worth the conversation. But all these other, big names that are out there, we had a conversation, and a really, really good one about all of them, man. So if you haven't seen Extra Sauce this week, go check that out. It's a really good show.
It was a good show. Give me a few. I got to go check on something real quick. I'll be back.
Go ahead, man. You'll be all right. Let me take them down for a minute and just talk to y'all. Let me see. What you saying over there, Scrolls? He said, question, Nomad and FFG. Who's your first pick for head coach and why? You know what? This gonna sound so convoluted, Scrolls, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. I really do think that, number one, Thomas Brown, if given the, I don't know that if Chicago right now is the right place and time for him, but I believe that guy is going to be a good coach somewhere, somehow. I don't know if he, if he endeared himself enough and got the wins. Maybe he gets a win in Green Bay and changes some people's minds, but I hope he gets a good interview and they really study him. But I think he's going to be a really good coach in this league. But outside of him, if you watch that show, then you would already know my favorite guy. It's not about Scrolls. It's not about just getting a coach that can coach football and can coach a quarterback and can coach, do all that kind of stuff. The coaches manage games. It's not about that. We have to understand that Chicago is a particular place. Like we like our football a certain kind of way. You know what I mean? And we've seen winning football in Chicago. It's a formula that works time after time after time. And that is get a nose, just a defense that just creates bloody noses, and we fight for everything. We get a great defense, build a great defensive strategy, and stop the run. And knowing that that's going to be the key to you doing what you need to do later on in the game, that's everything, man. I think, and Rex Ryan is the first person that comes out of my mouth. And I think he's the perfect person that matches the personality of the city of Chicago. And nobody's talking about that. But you want to talk about the perfect guy that gets Chicago and knows exactly what to do. Who other than Buddy Ryan's son is better prepared to do that? And so to me, number one is Rex Ryan. Number 1A is Brian Flores. Because he's like Buddy Ryan 2.0. You know, in my opinion, Chico is number 3, and a close number 3. But those two guys in particular, just by the way they coach football, and Chico is right in that category. I would not be mad with either one of them. But Brian Flores is really growing on me right now, if that answers the question. Ron Chico, that's Joseph Archer said he's in there for Chico. I'm there. I'm there. If they get Chico, one thing I do know about Ron Rivera is if you take away some of the poor quarterback play, you know, you get better quarterback play. You might be talking about a Super Bowl winning coach a couple times over at this point. And I don't know that we having the same conversation with some really, really good quarterback play. But he didn't. And the league is quarterback driven. If you don't have the right quarterback, and you're going to have your record is going to reflect that, and that's what people are going to hold you accountable for. And that's your record. And so, truth be told, Ron Rivera doesn't get the credit he deserves. Great defenses he coaches. You know what I mean? When he was in Carolina in particular, I love those defenses with Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. Oh, my goodness. You kidding me? I hear you, Chi-Town Menace. Winning football, I don't care where it comes from. Man, Scrolls, one of these days, you're going to come to a point. Okay, he says we're moving into a dome era with a special QB. Man, let me tell you something. I don't care how special you think Caleb is. It really doesn't matter. If you don't got everything clicking around him, I don't care how good his arm talent is. It really doesn't matter. FFG, if you're ready, poke yourself into the camera and let me know. But it doesn't matter how special you think he is. It really won't matter if you don't got all the other stuff going on around him that needs to be going on around him. And I think too many people have bought all that stock in Caleb Williams and are forgetting everything else that comes with playing a football game. And this can't be about what the hell he needs. Not this offseason. It cannot be. If it turns into that, we're in dire straits. I promise you that. Rex Ryan probably ain't realistic Chi-Town Menace, but you talking about somebody that fits the situation in the moment and the city. I mean, you just imagine what would happen if they hired him and he did his first press conference. The city is going to be electric, dude. Foot fetish Rex. Why is everybody tripping on Rex Ryan, man? Come on, about feet. Probably half of y'all probably like feet too. Let me see. I'm reading your comment, Scrolls. Scrolls says, my problem with a defensive head coach is the carousel. Flores and Rivera would need to bring in an OC that if successful would get poached. I don't think you worry about that. That's like a I don't know, you don't worry about that kind of stuff. Then you go hire somebody else that you think is competent. But if he's as good as you think he is, Scrolls, if he's as good as you think he is, the offensive coordinator, he will adjust. If he's as good as you think he is. And so ain't nobody that you worrying about stuff that hasn't even happened. Let's get the right person up in here first, and then he can hire the right coordinator. Nope, one player does not make the team. That's, you know what, Chi-Town Menace? That's my biggest fear. That is my biggest fear. What Chi-Town, I'm gonna read what he said on the screen. He said, "So, would we have to change offensive systems yearly or what?" So the one thing that you have in your one thing you have in your bag is knowing that most teams are want to run the West Coast offense, and at least he's run that version since he's been in the NFL. So there's a big pool of guys that coach West Coast offense out there. And so will the language change with a different coach that comes in? Of course. But so that's why when you bring in a coordinator, that coordinator is going to bring the people that he needs to bring along with him and that can coach those guys as they're coaching the other players. And so you already, the minute you bring them in here, you're going to start trying to get that person, the person behind the offensive coordinator, ready to step in and take a role. The really good teams do that well. The really good teams do that well. They just hire from inside because everybody knows what we need to do and what kind of play calls that work here, and you just adjust to that. And so I think that's the least thing I'm worried about. That's the least thing I'm worried about is worrying about whether or not we'll be able to keep an offensive coordinator. Get the shit right first. And let's worry about the offshoot of whether or not, we got our offensive coordinator post later on. Let's get the right offensive coordinator first. Everybody thought Getsy was going to be out of here in the first year. What happened there? Everybody was worried about that same crap a couple years ago when Getsy was here. So I ain't so worried about it as everybody else is. I'm reading. Nomad, a lot of people don't want Flores because what happened with the Dolphins situation. Again, this is one of them. That's one of those situations where you're gonna hold that against him forever. And he actually turned out to be right, talking about Brian Flores about Tua, in my opinion. And he wanted to draft the quarterback from not San Diego, then San Diego, but the LA Chargers right now. He wanted to draft Justin Herbert, and they didn't want to draft. They wanted Tua. They wanted to keep Tua, and he didn't think Tua was the guy for the job. And that kind of spoiled the milk for Brian Flores, I think. And I think he never really recovered from that. He didn't think Tua was good enough to do the job. I don't think Tua is good enough to take that job to the next level, take that team to the next level. I don't. I think he's a good regular season quarterback, but when the games matter the most, Tua lets you down constantly. So I think he was right about that situation, how that played out personality-wise and between him and Tua. That's a mistake that he made, and he owned that. He owned that. I don't think you hold that kind of stuff against him forever. You got to learn from these kinds of things. It's a people business. And if you don't learn, he can't keep getting jobs left and right. If he didn't learn from that, he'd be a bad people person and nobody would fool with him and he wouldn't be in the league. But I think he has learned from it, and I think he deserves another chance. I hear you, Scrolls. He says, I'm tired of defense. No, man, I need some offense in my life. Like, there's two realities that can exist. Like, just because we have a staunch defense and a defensive coach doesn't mean we can't have an offense that flourishes. I don't know why people think we got to have one or the other. It seems like that's the way it's been working in Chicago, but that doesn't mean that's the way it's going to stay. Argue with kids about this up and down and talking about precedent. And he is talking about, why, the organization will never fire somebody in season. They've never done it. He leaned on precedent as his reasoning behind it. And I was just like, because you didn't see it happen before, doesn't mean it can't happen. They can get a great defensive coordinator and get this team settled down playing some good football, bring a really good offensive coordinator in here that really fits what Caleb wants to do, and both sides can flourish equally. I don't know, like teams do that all the time. Just lately, it hasn't happened in Chicago. And so I think Lovey was the last time the offense really kind of flourished while the defense flourished a little bit. But that was a running system, you know what I mean? But I think both can happen, man. And I think you just got to be patient and don't be closed-minded about, just because we had the last coach was a defensive coordinator, don't think that we can't have another defensive coordinator that can come in here and get it right. Yep. Chi-Town Minute says, okay, so we need to build a complete staff and keep continuity. No question about it, man. No question about it, man. This Caleb stuff in the offseason is getting on my nerves. One, number two, I think that's a narrow-minded way of thinking about what we need in the offseason. We got a whole 53 guys to think about. You know what I mean? And so worrying about what he needs, what's suitable for him, I think is a really narrow way of looking at it. And I'm kind of tired of having to say that, man, because it's just football is the ultimate team sport. And to be so solely focused on one guy and making sure he has what he needs, how's that going to serve the rest of the team? You might really sow some bad seeds in that locker room if it looks like, okay, we getting this coach just for Caleb. If he's not a leader of men, that's going to come off in the locker room real wrong. And I told you guys that, if the locker room is the key. The locker room is the key. If you ain't got that right, you ain't got nothing. Mayhem thinks Flores is the worst case scenario. I do not. I want a hair splitting defense like that, man. I want a defense that just terrorizes that guy. He's going to win a championship somewhere somehow with the kind of defensive his defensive scheme and skill set is so far above and beyond any defensive coordinator I've seen. The only one I would compare to what he does is probably the defensive coordinator that works with the head coach in Buffalo. That's probably the only thing I can see comparable to what Brian Flores does, and that's still not even coach. In my life, I played a lot of football, seen a lot of football, and I've never seen a cover zero in my life morph into a zone play mid play. It like I seen Minnesota. I was just looking at this tape last night playing Seattle, and I seen a cover zero zorf into a zone on the backside, and it completely confused Geno Smith to a point where when that play was over, he just was kicking grass and walking off the field like, I can't do nothing with that. A cover zero is almost every time, by conventional standards, tacked up man to man. It's going to be probably 8 in the box, lined up to come after the quarterback to take his head off, and it's going to be 3 guys tacked up in man to man, depending on the setup. Might be 7 guys in the box, 4 guys tacked up in man to man. But I've never seen it morph into a zone with those 3 or 4 players on the backside. I'm telling you, he is an incredible. I just love innovation, man, and you need innovation to keep fooling and keep constantly keep the quarterback on his heels and the head coach on the other side and that coordinator. I mean, that is priceless. And so I don't care what anybody says about Brian Flores. You want that on your team. If you got to hire him as a head coach, just make sure you have the proper plan to bring the staff along with you. That's all I worry about. But I have he's got leadership material written all over. I believe Flores might have learned from that too, Shot Town. Yeah, they man, them dudes on the defense love that guy, Shot Town Menace. They love him. I don't, you know what, Scrolls, I don't care about the media, the local media, the national media, or anybody else that has anything to say about, the pick of Brian Flores. Who gives a damn what they got to say? Who gives a damn? They better not be hiring nobody based on what the hell the local media and the national media had to say. I'm about to give a damn about what they got to say. Hire the guy that you know is the right guy, and let the media talk and do what they do. I'll do my part over here on the other side of that and slap their ass around. I promise you. Let me see. Seymour Bush, he said, Ryan Poles doesn't want Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson wants his guy and will get. I heard that story today. Seymour Bush says Ryan Poles doesn't want Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson wants his own guy and will get Poles fired. Yeah, I don't think that works out too well, man. Some first-time head coach won't take a job because he thinks he doesn't want that GM. He wants to bring all his own people. And you ain't. No, I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that at all. If that's the energy he's putting out there, I don't think Ben Johnson's the right person for Chicago. And Seymour Bus said, Pose is scared to get canned. Everybody's scared to lose their job, brother. Minister Charles says he wants Vrabel and Kingsbury. You know what? Hiring Flores would also require us to switch to a 3-4, and we don't have the personnel, which means we need additional offseason to complete the team. What's interesting about that is Minnesota was they were running a 4-3 before Flores got there. Believe that or not. How long has Flores been there? 2 years. And so last year they switched it over and played some really, really good defense under a 3-4 with that personnel. They played really, really good, Scroll. So, given like it seems to me like Brian Flores can take personnel and kind of do special things with it, man. He had 4-3 personnel in Minnesota last year and was able to knock it out the park with it. And he was able to get some additional personnel this offseason, got a few more of the guys that he was looking for, and made it even better. So, he's one of those guys that I'm pretty confident they can come in here. And if they do go to the hybrid front, I think he'll be able to transition these players into it a whole lot better. Hell, you might see a different role coming from a guy that we haven't seen whatsoever. Noah Sewell, for whatever reason, you might see a different kind of player come out of him with the Brian Flores in here. So, he's got the body type to play in the – I mean, you think of what Van Ginkel is doing in Minnesota? I can see Noah Sewell doing that right here. Same kind of player. So just think about it that way. But let me bring in – you ready? Give me a thumbs up, FFG. All right. I'm here wrestling with Scrolls, man. Scrolls want to.
I know. I wanted to get back in because I heard the question when I was walking upstairs, take care of some business for the fam. So do you mind if I jump in and get my little spiel out there real quick?
Go ahead, get it in.
All right, cool, thanks. So to me, there's only two guys I really, really wanted to start this process. One doesn't want to come back to coaching, and that's Mr. Cowler. Because the one thing that you need in a town like Chicago is a strong personality that can deal with the media. And I think that's the hardest part for any coach to have to deal with coming here. It's not about getting the talent. It's not about the style that you put on the field. It's about dealing with the media and how the team reacts to what you tell them. The second guy that's more available that I would love to have is on TV every day. And that's Buddy's kid, Mr. Ryan, who knows defense, who knows he survived in New York. You got to think about how hard that is and the media they have there compared to what we have in Chicago. When you think about how bad polls and these guys getting trashed just by fans and everybody else, just imagine 10 times worse in New York. So he's got thick enough skin to deal with that, and he's got the prowess. Plus, he's seen the evolution of the game for the last 30 years and knows exactly who's available, what kind of style he wants to run, and our defense will be no joke under him. And that's just my opinion. I would love to have somebody who can come in and the locker room automatically says, okay, we trust you because of what you've done in the past, who you are, who you're related to when it comes to the Bears, and what you bring to the table as far as winning football on a consistent basis, because he didn't have a lot of terrible teams unless when he first got there. And after one drive, boom, when he was winning with Mark Sanchez. Come on, y'all. We got Caleb Williams. And he was winning with that dude who was supposed to be a USC phenom and then turned out to be nothing, because when he left the team, he was still nothing. He just lucky to be on TV, got a nice smile so he could get paid to talk about football that he barely got to play in the NFL. That's real talk. So, yeah, I would love to see Mr. Ryan be the head coach of Chicago, because he ain't going to take no shit from nobody, and he'll let polls know, hey, this is what I need. This is what I want. You go get it. We go win. Don't worry about it. I got this over here. You just give me what I need. Eberflus wasn't that kind of dude. So he ain't got to worry about him trying to get Poles fired. Poles just need to worry about getting the pieces in place so he can coach him up. And I guarantee you the discipline and the workmanlike mentality will be there day in and day out, because that is what he's used to. That's what he was built on. And that's what his dad taught him here in Chicago growing up.
I really think, and Joseph Archer says, do y'all think that the Bears will interview Rex? Any news? I haven't heard, but like sometimes I really believe people, too much information is overkill, right? Sometimes it's too much going on, and you lose your ability to be able to critically think. And when you critically think, you can like, some stuff is so elementary and it makes so much sense, but because so much stuff is going on around you and you're getting all this pressure, all these people giving you advice and people saying, hey, I heard about this guy and that guy. Some stuff that just makes sense. Some things just make sense. You know what I mean? Just common damn sense. Like, I can't even design a guy more prepared for what Chicago brings to the table and this moment. Like, it's so easy. Yeah, he hasn't coached since 2018. So be it. What's that mean? You think he's lost his touch for how to call a game and what to do, how to coach? Trust me, you haven't. You haven't. He's probably gotten better in his time off, just by acquaintances and just being able to see it from the outside looking in. That tends to happen most of the time. And so I'd bet money that if Rex Ryan, wherever he goes, he's going to be a better coach than he was when he was here, his last run, just by acquaintances and having that outsider's point of view and that perspective just adds to how thorough you can be at your job, man. I don't think just because it's not like a football player that, he hasn't played since 2018 that he lose a step, or basketball player. It's a coach. It's a coach. It's mind, concept, personality. Can you get these? You need to get them on the same chord, sing on the same note. And I don't think he's lost any of that touch. They will love him in Chicago.
You know what else, Nomad? Here's the biggest thing that Rex Ryan has the ability to do that a lot of coaches don't. He's got access to all the information on every player, the draft. They get to talk to every coach who's coming up in every organization. They get to talk to GMs, general managers, owners all the time to be able to get, the perspective of the league, how things are going, how things are changing. They get to know all the rules. So it's not like he is behind the times where he's just been sitting at home, not coaching. He's actually been lending his philosophy to everyday coaches and be able to take from them and see who's actually doing what. And because they can break down every single game, every single week. So he knows who's out there, and it's not just the people that he dealt with in the past. He knows who's up and comers. He can see who's doing what for every organization all the time. And that gives him another aspect that most coaches do not have, because they're like, what do you call it? Vrabel. He's been sitting at home, chilling. Now, he may watch a game. He may talk to some people that he knows, but he's not involved in the NFL on a daily basis. Straight up.
Man, let me tell you something. Like, I can sense all kinds of emotions. Like my uncle, like that dude so love Buddy Ryan and his coaching style. I come from a steep football family, man. And he always wondered why nobody ever really continued doing the 4-6. And I'm just like, man, it's like, you got to have the right pieces to do that. Like, I think they do versions of it. Like what Brian Flores does is kind of, that's about the closest thing I've seen to a 4-6 than an actual 4-6. You know what I mean? The kind of style he runs. But it's like, you gotta be perfectly aligned, and those guys on the other end of it, on the back end of it, have to be perfect, have to be the perfect football player. So would Buddy Ryan do something? I'm pretty sure he'd wiggle that into some of his schematics. But man, dude, I can imagine the emotions around Chicago if Rex Ryan got in front of that podium as the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. It'd be a lot of people, just like what Scrolls is saying. It's going to be a lot of people like, what, dude, Rex Ryan and all those people that are just pessimistic about every effing thing, and then not thinking about what this could mean. You know, I mean, this, you know, what this could mean to him, you know, to be able to come in and finish his legacy through his father's name and do it. I mean, that could be so huge. That could be, I just think he's the perfect person for the city. He is. I mean, because there's more to it than a football game. You got to engender, you got to, it's about endearing, getting everybody endeared to what you're doing. It would be a bonanza, bro. A straight bonanza.
Too many men with feet around Hollis.
Man, Scrolls is wild, man.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about? This is disgusting, bro. What you drinking on, Scrolls? Goodness gracious, bro. You
can't go to the grocery store, can't go to Walmart. You be all down on the ground trying to eat on toes and all that. Nah.
You jumped into Trips World with them toes and feet and all that good stuff. Man, this is ridiculous.
I'm gonna get him about that.
No, but here's the thing: that the next head coach for the Bears has to have some kind of cachet, and it's got to be well known to the players, to the organization, to the fans, and to other teams. So when they do pick the coach, it don't got to be a home run to everybody, but it's got to be a choice that people say, okay, damn, what will he do with this? Because we understand his prowess and what he can do with the team. And he's got a lot of pieces that he didn't have in New York. Number one, a quarterback. You don't think that he will get the best offensive coordinator or the people around Caleb Williams to be successful? And just how they broke down Joe Burrow the other day on TV about this same throw, like T. Higgins 3-touchdown game. He ran to go 3 different ways, and they broke it down back shoulder, they broke down over the top, and they showed the stop. And that's something that you can teach a kid on how to throw the ball so he's better equipped to make those throws downfield, because that's really what he's lacking, knowing what to do and when. And I guarantee you he'll bring in the personnel that's going to drill it into him day in and day out. This is how you perform, and we'll have the hogs up front to protect you. You will not have to run for your life. I guarantee you Rex Ryan is a trenches god. That'd be the first thing he'd fix, because he already sees everything else that the Bears got to bring to the table. He just got to this little mix and match some of the little different pieces, some of the little nuances of what he wants to do and how he wants to use the pieces we already have. So I think his free agency and his draft will put the Bears in contention immediately.
So let me mention something to you. So just give me a one-word answer when I ask you this, just so I can keep this flowing. Jim Harbaugh, throwback or no?
No. It's talking about player or coach?
Throwback coach.
Yes.
Okay. Would you consider Rex Ryan the same?
Yes.
Okay. So you telling me that Jim Harbaugh can work with a throwback mentality in the way he designs and scripts up a football game, and you telling me that Rex Ryan can't? Number one, I'm not asking you that. I'm talking in general. Let me draw the line between them. One thing you'll know about Rex Ryan's pedigree is they're going to play defense, and they're going to be the tops in the league at doing it. Number one, that's what I don't care where he's been. They've been tops in the league at defense, no matter where Rex Ryan went. Number one, that's his family crest. That's on his family crest. Dominate in defense. That's the Ryan way. Number one. Number two, one of the things I thought was beautiful about what Jim Harbaugh did when he went to LA with Justin Herbert. And at first, when I first heard it, I was just like, what does he mean by that? And then I had to listen to several press conferences over and over just to understand what he was talking about. He said, we're going to protect the quarterback. And naturally, your first mind is going to go to, okay, they're going to beef up the offensive line. No. That's not what he was talking about whatsoever. Later on, as you listen to it more, He said he's going to protect the quarterback by not asking him to be Superman. He's not going to ask him to do too much. We're going to establish ourselves in the run game and take so much of the pressure off of our quarterback. And that's how we're going to win. And so how is that any different than what Rex Ryan brings to the table? It works for Jim Harbaugh. You telling me it can't work for Rex Ryan? And Rex Ryan is more defensive oriented.
I'm well versed in what he will do, but what I will say is, could you say throwback? Throwback to me is defensive running the ball, but you can take advantage of the talent you have as far as now you have quarterback and people on the outside, a quality tight end, a good running back. As long as you have the line to maneuver those pieces into positions where they can be effective, your offense will keep you in every game because your defense is damn sure going to keep you in every game. And you might start being a juggernaut because now people are going to be tired on offense because they're going to get the ball all the time. So if you want to talk about throwback, yeah, in that sense, I'm all – now today, most everybody that they've talked about in the chat, all new age way of thinking. Yep, they got some brilliant minds out there. But remember, all these brilliant minds that you guys are talking about got an offensive line to work with. Every single one of them. Ain't nan one of them dudes that somebody wanted as a head coach got a terrible offensive line. Not one of them. They got top of the line lines to work with.
I keep trying to tell the supporters of the channel that I keep smashing the table over and over again. I know Ben Johnson is the shiny new toy out there, but I keep trying to tell people, unless Penei Sewell and the rest of those guys on that front coming with him, he brings Jahmyr Gibbs with him, there is going to be a whole lot of average and beneath average when he gets to Chicago because he doesn't have what he needs, and you think it's a one-shoe-fits-all situation. He's good in Detroit, so he's going to have to be good here. We got Caleb Williams. My ass, I promise you there's going to be everything but what you think it is because you need it to be right in the trenches before any of it gets right. And what I'm emphasizing to you is both of those coaches we're talking about right now, whether it was Jim Harbaugh or Rex Ryan, they know that. They understand that. Football has not changed in that regard over the many decades it's been here. That is always going to be the same. If you can dominate in the trenches, you're going to give yourself every opportunity to win football games. That's just proven. And so it doesn't matter whether it's an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator. It's got to be the right coach that has the right mentality to make sure that's right. You got to get that right. And those are two guys that I know that would put emphasis on making sure the trenches are right. So, I mean, I know nobody wants to give Rex Ryan any credibility. It's like a far-fetched thought for most people because he's been out the league since 2018. But I am telling you, this guy, given his next opportunity, I think he's going to knock it out the park. Whether he's in Chicago, New York, don't matter. I think his understanding of what football is, how much it's changed, and having that perspective from the outside, and plus his principles of how a football team should be run is unique. It makes him uniquely qualified to do this job here in Chicago in particular, but in New York as well.
Well, here's the other thing that we're looking at. He's in what, 63? Something like that? Early 60s?
Early 60s.
Yeah. So you got to think about it. Belichick and Pete Carroll, them dudes in their 70s. How long do you think they'll be coaching? You can't tell me Rex Ryan for the next 10 years wouldn't have the Bears dominating because he don't eat good here. He knows the town. He knows the people. He grew up here. So he's not scared of Chicago. And a lot of these people ain't never been, especially the people ain't never been a head coach. I don't want to hear you demanding nothing. You should be happy to have an opportunity to be a head coach because there's only 32 jobs in the world. And when you come in the door talking about I need this and I need that and I want to do that right there turns me off to anybody. Now, if you come in and say, hey, we need this to win, You guys are already in place. Get me a stadium. Get me this. Let me go to work. That's what I wanted. That's what I want to hear. Because I already know what you got on your team. I watch it every week. And I'm mad as hell that y'all weren't performing this year, because I would have had this team performing a whole lot better. And he was one of the first people, like Wilbon, that said Flu should have been fired after the Patriots game. No excuse. He should have never got the loss to Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay 3 games in a row. Should have never been there. When you lost a team after you blundered that, because you have to think about, we won that game against Washington, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. The team would be playing well. We'd probably be in a playoff race right now, trying to worry about who we got to beat out to, tomorrow to make it in the playoffs. But since that day, since the coach didn't take full advantage of his authority, because that's really what it is. It's authority. And I think people were going to respond to his authoritative stature, not his voice where he's just yelling at folks, because that's going to happen. I'm talking about his stature in the game of football, where they're going to understand, okay, he's done it. He's been there. He's done that. So, yeah, we need to listen up, because ain't none of us on this team, nobody in that building, not one player has been to an AFC, NFC championship played in the Super Bowl, other than the dude who probably ain't going to be here next year playing center. Everybody else probably ain't seen the playoffs or seen it once or twice, other than Keenan Allen. You feel me? So nobody there knows how to win, knows what it takes to win, and has the mentality of being a winner. And he can bring that to the table, which a lot of these coaches won't have that mentality from a coaching standpoint, not from a winning standpoint, playing on a franchise where you ain't the man, that you just along for the ride because they got you what you needed to shine, but able to build a team, control a team, and let the team know that we're going to impose our will every single week on the opponent, and they're going to be fear us, not the other way around.
Chi-Town Minister, he says, I'll be glad when it's done so I can sleep again. You know what, Chi-Town, man, everybody going to be sick when football is over, man. So I'm going to enjoy it while it's still here, because I get sick. Like, literally, my body changes when we ain't got no football. Like I'm going to be a football player in my spirit and in my soul, long as I exist, you know what I mean? And like I really don't like when ain't no NFL playing and my Bears ain't playing, man. I do not like it, man. I got to get creative, especially now that we're a YouTube channel, you know what I mean? I got to get creative. I have no problem with doing the work. You know what I mean? The work is just the work, you know what I mean? We're going to constantly put out content for you guys, and I think it's going to be even better than it was the last year, you know what I mean? And this offseason, I'm going to put my foot in it, as I've been trying to do so far, and making sure I identify players. And that's what I'm probably lean into that and make sure I identify players for you guys to really, really go home and when you got time by yourself and do the research on your own. I think you're gonna like a lot of the names I'm gonna put on the table for you guys. It's not that I don't think you guys can do the research on your own and find your own players, but I'm gonna do the work for you over here at the Nomad Network, and I'm gonna catalog them so that my guys over here, FFG, along with Kids and Trips and everybody else, and Nick, everybody that's here can have a baseline and have a source to go to using Google Docs, and they can go and find the players that are going to be good. Everybody's going to get into the mock draft simulators and all that kind of stuff. But I'm gonna make sure we turn it up over here onto another level, man. Make sure you guys can see all the players that are out there, because I think most of the time, FFG, I think people get so enamored with the guys that's going in the first, second round, the highly talked about players. They think those are everything else after that. If Mel Kiper ain't talking about it every day on TV, they think that's no good. You know what I mean? Mel Kiper.
I want to caution people, don't be disillusioned by the hype. Do your own research. Check out what we do, because I can tell you for a fact, Nomad works hard as hell. He called me this morning at 11, like, look, we got the game tonight. Here's all the people I want you to – and I knew half of them, because he'll tell you, I watched Minnesota. I watched Virginia Tech, and I knew a lot about some of these cats. But I know them all because I don't have the time to look at every single game like I used to because I got more responsibility now in life. When I was single, I could tell you about damn near everybody, half the people in the country. Because all I did on Saturday and Sunday, watch football. Now I got to pick and choose. But we are going to bring you a comprehensive list, information, background about a lot of these players and what you should be looking for, not just the ability on the field, but how they're going to fit in, with their attitude, with their mindset, with their background to Chicago, because not everybody can handle big city life either. That's another thing, because you got to think about most of these kids coming from small town USA, went to a major college in a small town where they big fish in a small pond. Now they have to go be the little fish in a big pond and try to find their way. So that mentality is going to have to be ingrained in somebody too, to know yourself, to be able to succeed in life, not just things are given to you because of your talent. And so I think that search is going to be one of the things that we're going to bring to the table that nobody else has. But you're going to really get to know these kids and know who's done what. And a lot of them have gone from place to place. So that's another thing about their mentality and what choices they made to succeed in life. Because nobody has been drilling that into me, because you're never going to see, again, like we were used to, where a 5-star recruit goes and sits on the bench for 2 years and don't play at Alabama or Tennessee or Notre Dame or UCLA, USC, whatever, Auburn, LSU. That ain't going to happen no more. You're going to see these kids go and try to show and prove who they are immediately to be in the spotlight, whether it's NIL money or show off their talent. So you're going to have to really go all over the country trying to figure out who got game and who don't. This is going to be more like basketball than ever has been like football, because cats can play in every corner of the globe in basketball. Now we're going to see how people play in every state, every college around the country, where it's actually going to mean something again to be able to play college football at the highest level, no matter who you play for and where you play.
Hey, I appreciate that, FFG. I really do, man. I really appreciate that. And I want to say thank you, man, too, because before I put this graphic up, I want to tell this story. I talk to FFG often, you know what I mean? We may not have the longest conversations because it's for a reason. And I don't know that FFG totally understands that, not long ago we monetized the channel. And not long after that, we created memberships for people to come and join the channel and do all that kind of stuff. And then my ace that I had, I turned to everything for. I turned to Chris for everything. Chris Washington, man. And, not having him all of a sudden when he left, I was like frozen, and I'm telling you guys this story. It's not that you haven't heard it before, but in the context of what I'm about to say to FFG. And it's thank you. One time we was on the phone and we were talking about memberships, and he was just like, "Hey, Nomad, man, you need to." He said, "Man, you need to make it more valuable for these guys to become a member of your channel." I was like, "I know, man. I'm gonna fix that up." And not long after Chris went, the website came up, and it was up for about a good solid couple months, and then things happened. I won't say exactly what happened because that's not important. The fact that the website's not there and we're not able to get merch out to people became a problem right away. And since then I'm working to get some time to put that website back up, and it's going to happen this off season and soon in the off season. Not going to be like late in the off season. Soon that website will be up and merch will be available to all the members. But I want to say thank you to FFG for reminding me of that and making sure I put some energy behind making sure that happens, man. And I thank you for that. And I promise you guys, I'm going to put this graphic up right here. And I want you guys to take me for my word and understand this before I put it up. I had to put a workload on myself that I wasn't really ready for, but I had to adjust to it because nobody else was going to do it for me. You know what I mean? You got to run this thing. You got to do it the way you need to do it. And Chris ain't here to save you no more. You know what I mean? So you got to figure it out. And so what I've been doing all this time is trying to keep everything flowing on the channel, making sure the bills are paid, doing whatever I got to do to make sure we can go live and do shows and put content out for you guys. But along the way, I had come to understand that if you're going to ask somebody to pay and become a member of your channel, you can't ask them to do it for nothing. And I appreciate we got a certain amount of members, Marlon Johnson, the Joseph Archers, the FFGs of the world, the Minister Charleses, it's Crimson, you dig. And to anybody I didn't mention, don't think I don't have straight up love for you, because we need that. We need that from you guys, man. We need it in a big way to really expand this brand and really branch this channel out in a direction it needs to go to. But I just want to sincerely apologize to you guys, because I don't think I did that right the first time. I got so overwhelmed with the workload that I have because Chris ain't here, and I neglected that part of it. But I'm going to put this graphic up right now, and I'm going to give you guys one promise. You help us grow right now, and you invest in us right now. I promise you guys, on the merch side of it, I'm going to pay all you guys back. I'm going to make sure you guys get perks, and I make sure you guys get what you need. Let me change up the screen here so we can see FFG and myself. But I promise you, I'm gonna do that better this time around. And for all you guys that are already members, man, I really, really appreciate you guys. But I want to encourage you guys that have not become members. It's only $4.99 a month, and I promise you, next time that website come out, the merch is gonna look even better than it did the first time. So I can give you that promise, and we're gonna give you discounts on that merch. That's gonna be one of the perks of becoming a member of the channel. So I just want to apologize openly to everybody that's a member. I got overwhelmed, and I didn't put emphasis on what I should have, and just making sure I took care of you guys that became members of the channel, man. So I thank you, FFG, for reminding me of that, and I apologize for it too.
Well, also want to give a shout out to Mo Fugra and Miguel Goncalves up in the chat, because they members too right now. So
yes,
the love that like when you guys get to see extra sauce, stuff like that, it's powerful, because you have a voice more than any other show out there. You got a better voice, and you could come on the show and express your opinion. Like a lot of these shows ain't letting the people just in the chat say something. You know what I'm saying? They want your money. They want your content. They want you to, talk smack and do all this craziness in the chat and give up the likes and all this mess, which I hope y'all, hit the like button today. Show some love. But we want to make it inclusive. Not because we want to have everybody named Mama on the channel. No. We see who the real OGs are when it comes to the Bears, who understand the game, who actually have something to say, and it's beneficial not just to us, but to other fans watching. And so that is the point that me and Nomad talked about that really makes this channel something special. And y'all going to see some more stuff coming out. Trust me, there's going to be out there that's going to have you talking about a lot of different other aspects, not just football, but of life and everything else, to help you become a complete person. Because I can tell you some stuff that's going to come out that it's not my business to put it out there, but you're going to see by being a member that you're going to have access to a lot of different things that are going to make it worth your while. Not one of them raggedy $5 subscriptions you have to whatever this is, that is. You don't never go on there and you just wasting money. This is something that actually allows you to be yourself, have an opinion, have a voice, and have a family-oriented situation where everybody understands everybody and it's respect first. And that's what I love about this channel.
I appreciate that, FFG. Like I'm trying not to get emotional, because getting to the point where I'm explaining it to all the members, all the no maniacs, whether you become a super no maniac or not, or just being a no maniac and just being a part of what we do. I'm just trying to get people to understand the level of overwhelm that came over me when, it was just, it's enough that you lose your guy, man. Me and Chris became great friends. That's one thing. But then, to be so unprepared for what you need to do to keep your thing going, it was avalanche, man. It was a straight avalanche. And as cool and calm as I was doing these shows, you guys don't want to know the kind of hectic I was going through trying to hurry up and learn how to make graphics and create the stuff that you guys, doing all this stuff to keep this thing going. It became overwhelming, and I had to pull myself and get myself together a couple, 2, 3 days, 4 days after Chris left to get myself in the right mindset, in the right place mentally to do this stuff. And I knew after doing the show with Samo and Trips kids, and they came for the memorial show, and I heard Samo said, "You better not give up." And I knew that I was going to have to figure it out. You know what I mean? And I think I figured out how to get the workflow manageable. And that's the main thing is I kind of know what to do now, and I can create on a level that I couldn't before. But the workflow, managing my time, making sure, like yesterday was the first time I ever forgot a show. You know what I mean? Ever. I forgot Ked's show was on at 6, and he was texting me, and I'm like, "What? Oh man!" So that just gives you an example. If that gives you a good example as to what was on my mind and on my spirit, it was just overwhelming. And you guys that became members, I just want you to know how much I appreciated it. And man, I'm going to reward y'all. Just give me some time to get that website up and get y'all that merch and the discount for. I'm gonna give away a lot of stuff for free. I'm gonna give discounts, man. We're gonna have all kinds of raffles and all kinds of stuff going on that's fun to do. And the merch is gonna be better than what they're selling out here at the stores. I'm careful about. I'm not buying nothing from the McCaskies. I'm not buying their stuff. I'm gonna buy it from the custom people, and I think I'm gonna be pretty good at making graphics for these t-shirts and this gear, hats, and all the stuff we're gonna put out. I'm just getting better and better at it, and I know it's gonna be dope stuff. And so I look forward to rewarding you guys for what y'all did for us, man. We really appreciate it.
I can attest to this, yo. No man was running around with a chicken with his head cut off for a couple of days, just because it is a lot of work. People don't realize what happens behind the scenes, and when you have somebody who's adept at doing it, and then you have the opportunity to have that fall in your lap and on your plate, then you like, whoa, this is what producers and this is what people really do to make stuff happen for the fans like us out there. So I give him a lot of credit for being who he is and keeping his dream alive and keeping us together and having this opportunity to share and do all the stuff that we can and to love our Bears. That's what it's really about. So I really want everybody to cherish this kind of things that you're a part of, that you actually help build something. It's not just where you try, like some of these shows, they just about getting likes and they just about themselves, yeah, they do it. They put out stuff. They put out content. A lot of it is just news channels. Basically, to me, I get all the updates too. I don't need you for that. There's very few places where they have in-depth conversations or they just ain't going off the, what somebody said in the, the interview or whatever. And that's all they talk about because they don't bring nothing else to the table. They have no outside the box thinking. They don't, the only thing we don't really have is an access to a lot of videos to be able to show a lot of different people because that takes away from the content that we can provide. Because now you just like ESPN showing or a draft program where you're just showing a whole bunch of dudes running around making tackles, what I'm saying, like that, not having a discussion and not giving your actual perception of what you see on the football field where other people can do the same thing. And now we can all determine how well the organization is prepared or how well they actually respond to the availability for quality players, for quality coaches, for organizational structure, those kind of things. And a lot of these different other programs don't go in depth like that. They basically give you the fluff. We ain't about fluff over here. And I'm not by no means on the upper echelon of this. I'm just happy to be here like the rest of y'all. But I do have a small voice, and I want y'all to have the same thing when you come on here show the love, show your support, and actually give your opinion. Tell it like it is. Hop on. Say something. Do what you got to do, because I know a lot of y'all are in the chat just constantly putting out quality information, quality, points of view for a lot of different aspects, even during the game. I would love to be able to see that, when we don't have, we're not doing actually live, but shows like this where you can actually put your thought process into motion and have it come to fruition, where you can be proud of what you know and how you frame it to the rest of the world.
So in other words, what he's saying is this right here. This is how you get to us. If you wanna become, just like Scrolls, you talking about you have a problem becoming a member and you want to donate and help in that regard, and you can't get it done, on your own because you don't have a laptop or you can't figure out how to do it, or you don't have a desktop. I can't remember what you said. All you gotta do is email one of us, email us. Like Kez is an IT guy, and you and Kez are tight. All you gotta do is say in the email, "Hey Kez, hook me up," and Kez will get on with you, and he'll bring you in the studio and get you all straightened out. He's an IT guy, so whatever you got going on, he'll be able to figure out how to get that problem solved. And so I can tell you right now, Kez is the perfect resource to tap into. So just send the email here, and I'll see it first, and I'll forward it to Kez, and then Kez will get back to you. So that's easy, man. Don't worry about that.
But, if you got a good phone or a tablet, you can join. You don't need a desktop. As long as you access, as long as your device has.
One thing to remember, FFG, is not a lot of people. Like when I first started doing this is about 2 years ago when I first started watching. I was the dummy on the outside looking in, saying, you know what, I want to subscribe to this channel, but I ain't got the money to do it. I thought subscribing cost money. I was that dummy.
It's free, like a mug.
Like everybody doesn't know that, and so it doesn't hurt any. Because you got to remember when you're doing podcasts to remind yourself before every podcast, it's somebody out there that's never seen your stuff before, or it's somebody out there that doesn't know this. What we look as, common knowledge, as that's a reasonable thought. You telling me to subscribe to something, everything I know that you subscribe to costs money. Not in the YouTube world. It's subscribing is free and painless. It ain't gonna cost you no blood either. And so just to remind people of that.
It's free. You know what I'm saying? You can like anything you want. It's the same thing as subscribing, where you can just get information, or whether you can be notified. That's basically what it is. This is just like basically a calendar. Say, hey, there's a show on Thursday. There's a show on Friday. There's a show on Sunday. There's, whatever. That's all it really is a reminder that, hey, you like the content? Come and join. That's what subscribe really means.
Yeah, hey, we'll get you straight. All you gotta do is email me Scrolls and just say it's Scrolls, and I'm gonna forward it to Kez, and Kez will get you all straightened up, man. Y'all, you don't even have to come in and show yourself on camera. You don't have to do none of that. Just turn the camera off, talk to him, and he'll walk you right on through the stuff. It's easy. Kez is real good at it too, man. He's real patient about it.
You can do it from your phone, technically.
I mean, everybody like I go. You got to remember, Scrolls. You go to the YouTube homepage. So when you see that black and blue logo, that's when you know you're at the Nomad Network homepage. You click on it, and it'll show you. All you have to do is scroll by there, and it'll show you the option to join, man. But just got to remember, you can't go to where you see podcasts. You got to go to the logo that says the Nomad Network and tells how many subscribers you got and all that. And then you'll be able to join and become one. But that being said, man, I want to remind people, let me pull this back up 1 second before we get up out of here, because this didn't go the way I wanted it to, but it was okay, man. We had a good show. We was able to identify some guys and talk about that a little bit, but I want people to remember this, that we're gonna start campaigning a little bit, man, to get us. It's a damn shame that we don't have over 2,000 subscribers, man, but we're gonna push and make some small goals, and start getting this stuff going, man. Let's try to get to 2,000, you guys, before we get to the end of that game and into post game for that Green Bay game. Help us get to 2,000, man. Anybody out there that's watching that has not subscribed to the channel, man, please, I really, really can strongly advise you, man, help us out here. It will really help us here, man. You're helping some good people that do some real good content get to where they need to get to. So let's hurry up and get to 2,000, guys. You can help us out by way of that. And Papa Bear says thank you. All right. So let's get to some closing comments, man, before we get up out of here, man. What's your final thoughts before we roll?
Oh, Mr. Mayhem. He's on my level. I love Nomad Network. And Chris, he just be talking smack. You know, Mr. Foster, he always want to accentuate negativity, so I understand. But that's your right. That's another thing. You can't be mad at somebody who puts out quality information about the channel. I just want to give love to everybody who showed up. You know, Scrolls, Ron Johnson, Mofugra, you know, Mr. Charles, AC Adams, Chi-Town Menace, T. Collins. You know, there's a whole Ron hopped in a little bit, you know. Mr. Renowski. So there's Jay Sanders. There's a lot of people that showed up today for a game that was just absolute waste of our time. Because none of the people that we profiled, you know, Fart Man, I don't even know who that is, but okay. You got one of the names. Jay Capone Don was rolling with us. You know, it's a lot of folks that hopped in the chat, you know, on a Friday night, which we really appreciate. You know, everybody's probably got that little hangover. Squalls with us early. You know what I'm saying? You know, OG, no maniac. So there's a lot of people that show love. You know, Don Burr always in the house, you know, at Moss that show the love. Jailbreak was up in here, you know, Marco King, just a lot of people that have the same kind of thought process that we have about the team and the different ways that we can help generate not just buzz for the team, but a way of thinking on how the team can progress and be better. And it gives us a better perspective on what the Bears are actually doing instead of just being, well, I can't believe they did that. And woo, 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 woo. You know, now we have a comprehensive thought process on how and why the Bears aren't as effective as they could be. Those kind of things, not just by, you know, looking at the social media and the national media and letting them tell you what the Bears are about. Know for yourself. And I think that's what the most important part of this channel is, knowing for yourself what's going on and how it affects the team and what's actually going to transpire going forward.
Minister Charles says, this show has made me living room famous. My family here is Minister Charles and goes crazy. Hey, Minister Charles, man, you're going to be signing autograph if it's left up to me real soon. Next time you go to Walmart, Jack, we're going to do that thing. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody for being here, man. And you know something? I really appreciate you, FFG. You was late, but I appreciate you. Everybody got life going on, you know what I mean? But that's cool, you know what I mean? But it was a really good time. And the part when I was talking about why we didn't get the membership process going and flowing the way I would have liked it to go, it was several things that happened. We lost Chris. The website got scrubbed and all this. It was just a whirlwind, man. And I apologize to you guys sincerely, man. I wish that had gone better. But this next time around, I'll have control over it, and it'll be just the way I want it to be. And you all will get everything I want you to have for really, really supporting us and always being down with what we're doing. I promise you, I'm gonna pay you guys back for that. And so, hey, like I said, become a member if you can. It's only $4.99 a month. If you've done nothing else today, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. We are really, really trying to push this thing to our first goal of getting to 2,000, and then we'll set another goal after that. But there's no reason why we can't do as well as some of these other channels out there. You just got to be generous enough to press a button right about now, and that helps us out right now. So just be generous enough to do that for us tonight. if you do nothing else. But I really, really thank you guys for being here. It wasn't the show that I'd set up in my mind to be, but I think with the talents of FFG and what he can bring to the table, and myself having the product knowledge of some of these players that I know you guys want to hear about on a regular basis, the fact that we was able to pull that off, I think I think that's a feat within itself. I just so happen to be prepared with some of those images to talk about a bunch of different players, and I know you guys appreciate it. So hopefully you guys wrote down those names, and maybe the next time we do a show, and you be like, "Hey, Nomad, that guard from Texas, can you put him up again? I got him. Don't worry about it. I'll pull it up for you." So make sure you guys go check those videos out. We put out the images and those player cards, so you guys can go do the video check for yourself. Tell me what you think of it. Did it make any kind of sense what I said or FFG? Let us know in the comment section. But make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Give us a comment. Let us know what you thought about the show. But with that being said, I just got to leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it, people, and you can see it, there is no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Just don't be a prisoner of your mind and get out of your own way. Make it happen, y'all. But with that being said, we are out.
Peace.